It's our episode 2 of Silent Striders podcast. And today we're going to be talking Assassin's Creed, which is obviously a big topic on this channel and a big topic with a lot of you since the last episode. A lot of you guys were still asking Assassin's Creed questions, even though we weren't really, talking about it. And today, Silent's not so silent. You can actually hear him. What's going on, Silent?
I'm good, man. How's yourself?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. It's good to hear you instead of the silence.
Hopefully. Hopefully we've got it working this week.
Yeah, we got it going. What's happening, Jose? Yeah, this week we should have it running. We should have it up and running correctly. Everything should be good. What's happening, Stanley? People already jumping in. Oh man. What's up? I'm not insane. Everybody's chiming in. Everybody is all in here. That's pretty cool. But yeah, Assassin's Creed, man, come a long way since the original Assassin's Creed. What's happening, Night Fury? Big things since Assassin's Creed 1. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. What's happening, Kyle? Our latest game, 2 years old. The next game, Valhalla, going to be coming out in less than 2 months.
Yeah, very soon.
Yeah, a lot of the things with Valhalla, though, like I was telling you before, Silent, I know people were complaining about, being able to, heal themselves with food and everything. And like I was saying, I think that there was going to be, something kind of along the lines of, the medicine in the original Assassin's Creed games, where you didn't just heal outright. You kind of, saved it for later and whatnot.
Yeah, I can agree. I see, when I was watching it, all I saw was him picking stuff up off the ground. I'm like, right, so we're going there, we're just picking stuff up. But it does sound like it's maybe a hunting mechanic they're going with.
Yeah, that would be cool. Kind of like something they did with Connor in Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty awesome.
Well, yeah, Jose. Countryside as well.
Jose says he can't wait for Viking plundering. I think isn't that the story of how he gets the blade, or is that just a rumor?
I know, but I believe he gets the blade very, very early on, does he not?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that they were saying that it was from a raid, from a Viking raid, that they found. I mean, I could be wrong,
Well, from what I understand is he comes into contact with the Hidden Ones.
Oh.
And that's how he gets the blade, because the Hidden Ones are in this.
Okay.
So I believe he's given the blade in order to use it to go after somebody, or he earns it somehow.
Well, that'll be interesting. I would love to see that. Yeah, that's a big bone of contention, is how he obtains the blade.
And why it's on the wrong side of the wrist. Although apparently they said it's because he's a Viking. He thinks it looks cooler that way.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. So I mean, that's a possibility. What's happening, Subvert? And yeah, Kyle wants that remaster. Yeah, we all want that remaster. Definitely want it. AC5 on sale next year. Yeah, you get it. I strongly suggest getting the whole thing in order to get, the full story and everything. Honestly, Assassin's Creed 1, if they do the remaster, I really do hope that they include the Bloodlines game with it, kind of like they did with AC3 and Liberation.
Yeah.
For the PSP, they had Assassin's Creed Bloodlines, and it actually told the story of how of what Altair's next moves were, and basically how he got married, how he met his wife.
Yeah, it was the trip to Cyprus, was it not?
Yeah.
If I remember rightly, it was partially based on.
Yeah, that would be pretty amazing if they just expand on that, if they give us that, because a lot of people don't know a lot of Altair's story. Obviously, we have the Ezio trilogy, and the Ezio trilogy goes deep into all kinds of territory with Ezio, but we don't really see what happened with Altair.
Yeah.
Wow, Kyle has all AC games. He's got all the AC games for the PSP and the Vita. Do you have them all for the? Oh, you don't have them all for the PlayStation 3 or 4. That would be cool. What were you going to say, Silent?
Yeah, I was going to say the Vita one's Liberation, isn't it?
Yeah, the Vita one is Liberation, and then the PSP was Bloodlines.
Yeah.
And back in the day, I didn't know how that was going to work. I thought Bloodlines was basically just AC1 again. but it wasn't. It was like a totally different story. It was pretty interesting.
So with Bloodlines, what would you be wanting then? Would you be wanting like a remaster of it, or would you be wanting like a remake of it as like a wee expansion, sort of DLC sort of side thing to add on to AC1?
I would want it to be kind of like the way it was with Liberation, because it was like a entirely separate story. It was entirely separate gameplay. It didn't play, exactly like an Assassin's Creed game, but it was still good. It was more of like it was like a 3D thing, but it was more about like stealth and collecting coins and things like that, and you unlocked certain things. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, God, I don't have much memories of it. I remember the opening of it. You see the guy holding the torch fire, but that's about all I remember of playing that game.
Yeah, it was
A long time ago.
Yeah, it was a pretty good game. That's why we need that remaster, man. Like, so many people definitely need it. Definitely need it.
That's fair. It is one of those little games that's off to the side that not many people know about.
Yeah. There's like a lot of like hidden gems in the Assassin's Creed. I know like some people hated certain things like, about Unity and Rogue and stuff like that, but each one has their own like place on the shelf. You know what I'm saying? They all definitely do have they tell the lore, and that's important. The lore is very important.
Yeah. And there's a lot of it as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely a lot of it.
That's why I get kind of upset with Odyssey, that they removed a lot of lore. And I'm hoping
Odyssey was confusing. What a confusing game that was.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Valhalla like restores the lore. It really gets into it.
Well, they've made a point of saying that they really have tried to fix things. There's meant to be real gold nuggets in this game to explain certain aspects that have been left unanswered for a long time. Because I believe it's Darby McDevitt, the actual writer from Assassin's Creed 2, whose cover is handling this, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, I have hopes if they've gone back to the original writer.
Yeah, that's something they definitely needed to do, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, he would be able to explain like a lot of stuff, but
yeah.
The one thing that I'm worried about though is that you got too many other writers, directors, and everything that have worked on the past with it and everything, and I just hope it doesn't become convoluted.
Yeah, it's too many cooks in the kitchen, isn't it?
Yeah.
They need something like a Kevin Feige to like oversee the whole Assassin's Creed universe and make sure that it stays on path and has a one story, a start, a middle, and an end, and keep it going that way, even if that story is 10 games long.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need like something like that, because what ends up happening is we had the whole Assassin's Creed thing going up to 3. We had Desmond as our protagonist in the present day, and then all of a sudden we kill him off. They don't really give you a reason why. Like, they give you a reason why, but it was a BS reason. And then once you start getting into like what else is going on in the universe and everything like that, like a lot of things just fail to make sense. Like we're the protagonist for like several games after that, and then in the present day and everything, and then we don't know what we're doing. We're just trusting these assassins. It's crazy.
Yep, and then we move on to the new present day, which is just, I don't know, it's just not good, is it?
Yeah, it's weird. It's just, what, a lot of people are appreciative that we have some direction because we have a present day protagonist, but it's still weird.
Yeah, it's almost as if the writers themselves don't know what they're doing with present day now.
Exactly.
Because you see that change once they took Desmond out of the equation. The present day just went to hell.
It did. A lot of things made no sense.
Definitely not after that.
We got a question. An end game to Assassin's Creed. Do you mean end game as in end game play, or do you mean end game as in like a very last game that they're going to do? Because that's two different things. When I think of end game, I think of like what you could do pretty much after the credits roll, pretty much after you've beaten the game. And the Assassin, Kyle says the Assassin's Creed movie was good. The live action was okay. Yeah, the movie was pretty good. Well, I wouldn't say good. It was decent.
It wasn't the worst thing in the world. They at least
No.
tried something different. Unfortunately, I don't think it's what the fans wanted, really.
No, I don't think it was the what the fans wanted. A very last one to tie up all the storylines. No, not yet. And I'm pretty sure that that's not going to be for like years, because I'm pretty sure they're going to ride this game out for all it's worth.
That's if they even have an end game in sight. The Assassins and Templars have been battling for bloody millennia, so it's like, is there ever going to be an end game to this?
Yeah, is there ever going to be like a last battle or something like that? Like, I don't know. I don't think so. I personally don't think so. I could be wrong though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not. I don't work there, so I don't know. But I mean, it's entirely possible that they could just one day just give up, just say, hey, you know what? They all destroyed themselves or something.
See, this is what they could be doing with present day, though. Instead of having you sit in a little room looking at a laptop every now and then and interacting with somebody, they could be really showing you what the assassins are doing out in the outside world, actually show you what they're fighting against, give you that sense of purpose within the present day story itself.
Well, you know what the thing was, though, that they don't do that. What they do is they fill it with like the comic books and everything. And I'm glad Kyle actually mentioned the comic book, because that was BS, man. We were supposed to battle Juno, and we were actually supposed to battle her in Origins. In Origins, those god things, those things where you fight the gods, those little mini missions and everything, that's where we were supposed to fight Juno. That was supposed to be Juno hacking the Animus and causing that error, and instead they just said, oh, you know what? It's one of the gods. The Animus doesn't understand what a god is, so it's manifesting it, and you got to fight it.
Yeah, it seems bizarre to take, like, because that character has been going since the game started, and it's like, why delegate the end of it to a bloody comic book where next to nobody, there's only a small percentage of fans that actually go out and buy the books, the comic books, and the side lore. Because I didn't realise they'd finished with the storyline until we got to Origins.
Yeah, I totally, I didn't understand why, until like I looked it up one day and I was like, what is going on? Why aren't we fighting Juno? And then come to find out that, Desmond's illegitimate child actually battled Juno and destroyed her and everything. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, why would we do this like this? What is going on?
Why did you not take that and put it into the present day story of the game?
That would have been, that would have been an amazing game. Amazing.
Desmond's out of the equation at the end of number 3, so Desmond's son comes in to finish up.
Yeah, you should have thrown that in the game. Yeah, we should have, we should have had that going, but they didn't even do that. The lore is completely messed up. The lore is crazy.
I don't know if I want an Assassin's Creed Dynasty, to be honest. After Ghost of Tsushima, I don't know if Ubisoft could make a good Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
Japan now,
They really have to take a lot of cues from that. But the thing is that, like, everybody always says, every Assassin's Creed that comes out, everybody's like, oh, it's going to be China, it's going to be Japan, it's going to be, and they'll show up a bunch of, photos and like works and everything like that, art, stories that they've read, and and the thing is that, like, it always proves to be, like, not true. Like, they, for some reason, like, I remember seeing an interview, and they had said, Ubisoft themselves, like a bunch of the heads, they said that they will never do a Asian sort of Assassin's Creed part of the main series, because they felt it would be too cliche.
See, they said the same thing for long enough about the Egypt setting as well, though.
Yeah, that's true too. But, the way I see it, like, I tend to believe it, because I could see where, like, they want to differentiate between assassins and ninjas, because, they don't want it to become another ninja game. We've got a bunch of ninja games out there. And the Creed is definitely, it's different. It's made to be different. But I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, I could be entirely wrong. I could talk this smack, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like 150 people will be like, "Hey, Darkstrider, remember when you said they're not gonna do this? Guess what?" I mean, I'll take that hit. I will. I'll take that hit. I'll love it. But like that I'll heavily scrutinize. I'll scrutinize that more than Vikings.
What would they do, though?
For next one,
Where are we going now? Like, we know we have Vikings. If I'm right, this Vikings is meant to lead us into the Altair story, is it not?
see, I don't know. It's possible that it's able to lead us back into the Altair story. And the beauty of the Animus and this series is that, in actuality, you could go any place, any time, and you could revisit it. You know what I'm saying? They could, if they feel Cassandra is a fan favorite, what they could do is they could all of a sudden say, you know what, we're gonna make it where, you know, we're gonna go back to Altair in the next game, and then we're gonna make it where you run into Cassandra as she's trying to meet Altair. You know what I'm saying? Or you know, like she was secretly one of the people that defeated you know, like the big bad of you know, Assassin's Creed 1. This is her story, you know?
I mean, I do wonder if Cassandra will show up now. Now we know she was alive all the way to present day. It does raise the question, will she show up again? Because there now is potential for it.
There's a lot of potential for it, and one thing I'm going to say, and I've said it several times when it comes to Ubisoft. Ubisoft drops the ball a lot. Ubisoft really misses a lot of opportunities. Like Odyssey, for instance. I don't buy into the Animus didn't know boy from girl DNA. I don't.
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous, isn't it?
What you could have done, you could have given us one of them as the canon character, one of them as the canon villain, and because you're taking 2 years before we see another Assassin's Creed game, you could have just made two sides of the same coin. So we play as Cassandra as the assassin, and then you switch over to Alexios as Deimos.
Yeah, and then play his side.
Yeah, and you just have this massive adventure, and then you go back and forth. They have different, you know, maybe they have different gear, maybe they have different play styles, all kinds of things like that. The game would never be boring. I got to tell you, a lot of people have shelved Assassin's Creed Odyssey after beating it, came back for the DLC, shelved it again, came back just to get the Ezio gear, you know, shelved it again. Like, you know, yeah, this doesn't help your thing. You gotta like really, you know, if you're gonna do something like that, if you're gonna take a 2-year hiatus, you gotta give us something in between. You gotta give us either more DLC. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like a DLC where you're fighting like the Kraken on the ocean or something like that. That would have been amazing.
Yeah, I was always kind of iffy about that. I always thought the Kraken would show up in some regard or some way, but it just never happened. He was even on the Odyssey map,
right?
You know, and there was no side mission, no anything for it.
Yeah, I would have loved to see that would have been a great DLC. They should have given us, I mean, even if you wanted to do a season pass season 2 and
Which
give
I
us
think they should have done. They should have done for year 2.
They could have made, you know, like a little extra money. It would have been extra DLCs. I would have paid for a season 2, especially if you would have offered me something like, you know, like you did extra, like they did, you know, Assassin's Creed 3 for the thing. I would have went for something like that.
Well, see, if there had been something there in year 2, I probably would have played. But like, I mean, you put it perfectly. The only reason why I've really put it up was to collect the Ezio suit.
Right.
You know, I jump on every now and then, have a wee run about, massacre some boats, and then I come off it again. I do my weeklies maybe once a month. But if they had that season pass, I mean, God, you even throw in a battle pass, so it's like, you know, earn XP for the next year and go along this, you know, 200 tier battle pass and earn new gear and different weapons and new boat shaders and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Give us a tenner, this will give you something to do.
Yeah, exactly. You definitely, year 1 was big. There was a lot of stuff in year 1. Year 2, I mean, they should have given us, definitely, they should have given us a season 2. They should have given us like a couple of extra things, a couple of extra like DLCs and everything. And I see what you're saying there, JJ. You know what? There is a lot to blame when it comes to, you know, like directors getting fired and like decisions that they make and stuff like that. But I mean, listen to the fans. You know, like listen to what they're saying. If the
Well,
fan
nobody
base
likes
is
Alexios anyway, so.
yeah, if you're hearing what the fans say and we're demanding something, I mean, sometimes, and I'll admit this, sometimes as fans we do get ridiculous, we do. You know,
Oh, yeah.
we want certain things and everything, and you know, sometimes we want the sun and the moon and the stars, and you know, like you got other games to work on. I understand that, but I mean, come on, you're gonna take a 2 year hiatus. You got to give us something. You got to give us something.
Yeah. And because they did Assassin's Creed 3 with the season pass, they didn't even have that, November drop of a new Assassin's Creed game.
Right.
So you didn't have that sort of to split the year the way they did with the Ezio collection.
Yeah, I mean, they should have done something like that. That would have been amazing.
Well, it would have kept everybody going, and it would have been it would, like you say, it's extra money in their pocket. And all they have to do is remaster a game, which is they were doing it in the first place anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that, like, why? I mean, like, you're making all this money on all these suits and everything anyway. Why not, like, use that, give us something that we'll actually, like, get. Yeah, I'm the last person. I never endorse actually going out and spending real money on a set, especially if you can go and get it for free. Like, yeah, exactly. I'm going to say like 70% of I've got all the legendary gear in Odyssey. 70% of it was gotten with the ore, like just by lucky pulls.
Yeah.
Like I had everybody watching, like as I was doing that, it was all like, just luck. There was no, maybe 10% was purchasing and 10% was, waiting for Sargon to have something on sale. Other than that, it was all ore. It was all luck.
See, when it came to the ore, I cleared the map of ore. Because I very, very quickly realised this game was going to be a grind, so I'm one of the numpties that paid out for the XP boost and everything, the Drachmae boost.
Right.
And I got all that, but with the ore, all I really did was I did the weekly stuff, I cleared the map, and then once I was finished with the game, I just didn't bother with the suits. I bought a couple of them off the store that I thought looked pretty cool, because some of them were really cool looking. So I bought a couple, but I mean, once the map was cleared and I was done with my weeklies, like that was me. I didn't really go to the store or anything after that.
I had, and I still do it. I'm still playing that game because like I got everybody. They have new questions and everything. Like I just released my top 10, a revised top 10 favorite, legendary gear that like I got, and then I got another. Where like I showed off the horses and stuff because people were like, "Oh, I like that horse skin," and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, let me show them all off, and maybe like you pick what you want." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I wonder how it'll work with Valhalla then, because I'm assuming they're going to have the same sort of setup. They'll have their merchant that'll be in your homestead, and
yeah, they'll probably do something crazy like that.
Yeah, I would assume it would be the same system
or a similar something. Say, well, it's got to be something that we can't break. We keep breaking their systems. We keep like in Origins they had the kid and we figured out how to like hack it so that we could constantly do the his dailies repeatedly. You could do it like overnight. Like I mean in a 24-hour period, I had millions upon millions in XP and ability points and all the gear and everything. It was kind of wild. What's happening, Ethan? Oh, JJ, he's got a good question about another game, Cyberpunk 2077. Do you think that it'll outsell Assassin's Creed?
Absolutely, because I'm getting it before Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Well, what is the actual time frame that it's coming out?
I believe it's the 22nd of November. Is it?
The 22nd of November?
I believe it's like the 22nd of November. Yeah.
Okay, so 2 days. Yeah, 2 days after Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I'm all in. I'm hoping I'll be able to get my PS5 for this. Hoping.
I think that it will do some big numbers. I don't know if it'll outsell it. It might, but like a lot of people are kind of upset that like it's taking so long to get here. Like it should have already been here. I thought that by the year 2077 is when it was actually going to come out. Oh, he says November 19th.
November 19th. I was close.
Yeah.
Well, see, that would make sense because the PS5 is rumored to be, I believe, the 13th.
That
So
have you seen a pre-order for it at all?
Not yet, no. I know they're sending out emails to like PlayStation fanboys though, like for early pre-order or some stuff that's going on. But other than that, I don't. Even Microsoft isn't speaking, so I'm not quite sure if we're looking at maybe a silent delay or something.
I don't know. I know that like that. All I know is that it's going to be big. All I know is like I'm ready for them to take my money. I want it bad.
I am.
I really do. I want it so bad. But yeah, well, that's what we heard, JJ. We did hear that like the 20th for the PS5, but we don't know anything about the Xbox, and nothing on pre-orders. What the hell is going on? I want my pre-order.
Well, this is the thing. They're really cutting it close to the bone here. I mean, we're just under 2 months away, technically, from the
Right.
launch of these consoles. Microsoft still has the Xbox Series S to announce, which has been outed on gamepad packaging and everything now.
Right.
So they've still got a console to announce. Like, I don't understand what the problem is. Like, is this literally just a cat and mouse game to see who goes first?
That's what I'm thinking, and it's like retarded. What's happening, Nick? I think that like each company thinks that the first one to strike wins, and
I think the PlayStation is going to win regardless, to be honest.
yeah, I think PlayStation has a lot more going for it than Xbox does. I know a lot of Xbox fans that, they're diehard Xbox fans, but I feel like,
now, though.
yeah, what's really the most damning piece of evidence is when the CEO of Microsoft is going to buy a PS5. Like that, like that is just, he's gone on record. He's gone on record. He said, he goes, that machine is going to be, like just, it's going to be lit. He's buying a PS5. And for me, that's just, that's like, okay.
That's mind blowing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
It really is. I mean, Digital Foundry came out, and they talk about like the Series X as basically being like an RTX PC, somewhat. Like, I don't know about the innards of a computer, but when they were talking about the PS5, they were like, "Well, this is a very unique beast, and we're not really going to we can't really talk about this at the moment, like because we don't understand it." So I mean,
Right.
it really sounds like this PS5 is something special. Like.
I'm telling you, it's really crazy. Ethan, actually, I have already played through this game. The problem was that, like, when we had the hurricanes that passed through, I actually had a lot of my data not backed up, and my PS4 kind of bit the bullet, and it took a massive hit. So I'm not mad. I'm replaying this stuff. I enjoy it. I actually, I was started Ghost of Tsushima. I lost my Ghost of Tsushima gameplay, and I was like, I forget how deep into that game I was. I replayed it. I loved it. I was like, no, I don't give a damn. I'm going to keep playing this. This is great.
The NVIDIA graphics very nice. Is that not the graphics card that costs £1,400 or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'm safe, Ethan. I hope you guys are safe as well. Oh, I just wanted to shout out Mary Rose, who's a commenter. She's a longtime viewer, and she was actually evacuated from like her town over that hurricane, over like Laura and Martin that passed through, and she just recently hit me up on one of my videos saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I missed all this and everything like that." I don't care if you miss any of my videos, like just I want you safe. So, I want to shout her out, my prayers to her family, and her neighbors. I really do hope that they're all doing well. They didn't lose anything, and they could go back to a normal life and rebuild, if anything.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
See, we're lucky. We don't get big hurricanes and stuff like that over here. We just get flooded and that every now and then. That's about it.
Yeah. Hood Lorax, Unity. It's in my. I would say it's in my top 10. It's not my top 5. Assassin's Creed 3 is in my top 5. Actually, no, it's in my top 10. It's still not in my top 5. I think let's see. I would rank Assassin's Creed 2 And that's I'm gonna loop the whole Ezio thing together. Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations. I'll throw in one game because it's just one continuation anyway. That's my number one. Origins is definitely my number two. And
Yeah,
Origins was robbed. They should have gotten a second game.
Oh yeah, Bayek should have had a sequel. Definitely should have had a sequel.
He should have had a trilogy. He was the most likable character since Ezio, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. I do agree with that. Because Origins for me, I mean, Assassin's Creed 2 is absolutely my favourite, then Brotherhood, but then Origins comes in at number 3 for me.
Really?
Yeah, Origins was the game that I've always wanted them to do an Assassin's Creed game that doesn't copy Ezio's game, but just does it better. And has no shame in it, and has a good story, but they always seem to try to top it. It's never about doing the better story. They just constantly seem to try and top it, and it doesn't work for them.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for them because it's not Ezio.
I think that's the thing. I think that's why like they gave Ezio so much love. I remember when the Ezio Roman set was coming out, people were like, "Well, why this guy? Why are they doing this?" And the thing is because he's one of the most beloved and recognized assassins ever.
He is. I cried when that man died in Embers, man.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I've seen all the movies like involving him. That was amazing.
Embers was heartbreaking at the end, man. What a way to go, though. Just pure chill.
Yeah, he just chilled out. He was like,
yeah, like I said to you though, it was that dodgy man sitting next to him though. There's something I didn't like about him.
Yeah, I thought so too. Like I kind of felt that. I feel you on that. Like I remember you telling me that we had that discussion before, and you were just like, yeah, the guy sitting next to him, it was just kind of weird. He's talking to him, and then all of a sudden he dies. That is crazy. Yeah. What's happening, Ray? How you doing? There was like a lot of things that are amazing with like Ezio's life and everything. He was a lover of Christina Vespucci, who her cousin was Amerigo, the guy who America is named after. I thought that was pretty cool, as far as like the way they did that.
Yeah, you felt for Ezio when Christina died. You really did.
Yeah.
It was his one true love,
Yeah, that was like kind of wild. The one thing I'm going to say though, now that I mentioned, the Amerigo thing, everybody, and I want you all, anybody who's watching this, anybody who watches any of my videos, I don't ever want to hear that you play Assassin's Creed for the history lesson. It's not what's going on. That's
You're not going to get that here.
Yeah, you know what? Like I sometimes I have debates with. Like commenters and fans and viewers and stuff like that. And, like I mean, I love that. I love having discussions with them and stuff like that when it comes to Assassin's Creed. But some people are like, we don't need the present day in Assassin's Creed. And, like my feeling is you do, but, like I respect them. You feel you don't.
I kind of agree with them to a point, though.
Yeah.
Well, I think since Desmond disappeared, it's like, what is the point? 1 minute we're an employee at Ubisoft.
Right.
The next minute we're not even a person. We're in a simulation talking to a lassie on a computer screen.
Right.
And I kind of get them. It's like, why do we need the present day? This is what I keep saying. They need to do something. They need, like, the point of the end game is a great point. They need to get a story straight. Like, they need to really figure out where they're going with this game in order for everything to finally fall into place.
That's one of the best arguments I've heard. Like, I'm all for, like, I'll disagree with you on there. I'm all for the present day. Like, I feel like it's necessary. It drives the narrative. It makes, like, the game go forward. Like, we're going into the past for a reason. I do agree that, since we lost Desmond, what the hell are we going into the past for? Like that. Yeah. That's kind of wild. But the thing is that at the same time, I always have felt that like we've needed the present day. Now, your statement there, like that was pretty well thought out. That made a lot of sense. But there are some people who will tell me, oh, well, the reason we don't need a present day is because you're not playing the game for the game. You're playing, or for the present day, you're playing the game for the past, and you learn history from the past. And I'm like, no, if you go into your history class, whether no matter what grade you're in, college or whatever, and you say, hey, Rodrigo Borgia from Assassin's Creed 2, he was Pope once. Then they'll say, yes, he was. He actually was a Pope. If you say he's a Templar, obviously no. They're going to look at you like you're, mental. Like, what do you mean he was a Templar? What? The Knights Templar were gone before him. Things like that. And then if you go and you say, like Rodrigo Borgia, he actually did have that family. He did have, Cesare, and
such a perfect villain for Ezio as well.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, the irony of Cesare Borgia being in the game. There actually was a Cesare Borgia in real life, and
very different type of guy, right? Enough to how he's portrayed in the game, but
well, yes and no. He was really out of his mind as well, because he came from a family. They were an incestuous family and everything. Just like they portray in the game itself. But oddly enough, if you can believe this, whenever you see a visage or a painting or anything of Jesus Christ, it's actually Cesare Borgia. Because when Rodrigo Borgia was Pope, he was trying to get more Europeans on board with Christianity. So he had painters paint Jesus Christ to look like his son.
Wow.
And that's the visions that you get.
Yeah, and if you look at Cesare Borgia and then you look at the pictures as well, I suppose, of the cross, then they are similar, I suppose.
Yeah, a little bit, but again, that's all belief. You know what I'm saying? It's what you believe, but there's a lot of rumor and stuff like that. And in all honesty, like in the Middle East, like where are you going to find a Peter, a Paul, a Simon, a Mary? Like you're not going to find that. Where are you going to find a white blonde male?
Exactly. I've been saying this for ages. It's like when people come up with the argument that Jesus is white, I do throw in that, and I go, well, look at the country. Why would he be white?
Exactly.
And it's not a racist thing to say. You just got to look logically at the place in the country and what the people are and who they are.
Exactly.
You're not going to get like you said, you're not going to get a white man with blonde hair rocking up the sandals on.
Exactly. But at the same time, like I'm not denouncing anyone's religion or anything like that, and that's a big thing. Like over here in America, we're going through some crazy stuff, man. Like we've got we've got certain protesters and everything, because we do have like a lot of injustice going on with certain races and everything like that. And we have protesters that now they're feeling so empowered that they want to actually rip down like religious statues and everything. And I'm just like, nah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, we had that. Well, we didn't have it in Scotland, but they had those problems down in England, especially in London. Man, they were having to box up statues and put protections around them, and
I kind of feel like regardless of your feelings towards like one race or what's going on and everything, I don't feel like you should rip down statues or anything like that. That's your past. We got to learn from it. It's there to be a reminder. It's a stinger.
This is what we were. You got to learn to be better.
Exactly.
That you don't want to be this again. So you don't tear the statue down. You keep it there and you use it as a reminder.
Exactly. Just like Kratos says, don't be sorry, boy. Be better.
Yeah, be better, man.
That's what I tell Little Strider all the time when he tells me sorry.
I try saying that to my kid, and he just looks at me and he goes, "Dad, really?"
No, Little Strider knows I'll bring out that big ass axe and like chop him with it if I have to.
No, I'll get you, boy.
Oh yeah, that's another good point that JJ just brought up. France is using all the video footage of the Notre Dame from Unity in order to rebuild.
Yeah, I watched that the night that happened. That was heartbreaking.
That was phenomenal. I couldn't believe that. And meanwhile, already a president came out and said, "Oh, like firebomb it with water." No, stupid, don't do that.
The building's like donkeys years old, man. Are you crazy?
Yeah,
Like you'll cause more damage than anything else doing that.
exactly. Don't do that. Don't do that. But I'm glad, and that's one of the things. Like I know that is an argument that a lot of people bring up. Oh well, if like you don't play the game for the history, then why is France using the footage of Notre Dame, the basically the blueprint that they used in Unity for the Notre Dame? Why are they using that to help rebuild? Well, there's a difference between historical structure and actual history.
I mean, the best way to put it is if you go to France and go climb up onto a building and look about, do you see any viewpoints? You go climb up. Do you know what I mean? They have the main buildings that people recognise. But I mean, I would be hard pressed to say that every street in this game is accurate.
Yeah, I don't think every street in this game is accurate. It's just like
the main buildings will be in place, but you will find the streets in that. There's no way this is fully accurate.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to tell you right now, the PS4 game Spider-Man. Okay, I live in New York. I know every single street in Manhattan. That's where I grew up. I grew up in the Bronx, which is one of the 5 boroughs, and when I was playing Spider-Man, like literally, I was kind of blown away because I was like, oh my God, like I remember this bodega. I remember, like, I was like, wow.
I've been there.
So I think, like that to a certain degree, they do have some accuracy, but then like when you see like Tony Stark's tower and everything, it's just like, yeah, no, I don't remember this. I've never seen this in Manhattan, like.
Yeah, I don't look out my window and see that big bright A at night.
yeah, like it's stuff like that. But like, to a certain point, they do have like some areas. I've been to Italy. I've traveled there, and like a lot of the buildings there are similar to Assassin's Creed 2. There are a lot of similar structures. A lot of the buildings, the tall church that you jump off of in like the beginning of the game and stuff, like that's actually there.
See, I remember a long time ago when I was a lot younger, when Assassin's Creed 2 first came out, and I was showing the old man it, and he was looking at it was one of the big cathedrals. He's like, that's really impressive. And I turned around, I turned the camera to face the city, and he went, that's not Venice. And I was like, it's a game, man. I was like, they give you the main big set piece sceneries, so you know where you are, but they cannot create it 100% to how it is. It's like I says, if you go at the top of the tallest building and look about, you ain't going to see viewpoints to climb.
No, not at all. I do like that they do pay that much attention, though. They really do.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, they pay a lot, and I got to give Ubisoft a lot of credit. Like, they must travel to like these areas and like really check them out and stuff.
Well, I mean, like himself was saying, when it comes to Notre Dame, I mean, they went in that building and they scanned the hell out of it for weeks so they could get it completely accurate for the game, like down to the diameters of doors and everything, I believe.
That's wild. See, that kind of stuff I like. I love hearing stuff like that. That makes a lot of sense, and that just makes the game a lot more accurate. It makes the game a lot more better, where like you actually have the actual structure, and honestly, I gotta hand it to Ubisoft. The fact that like after that tragic fire, like the fact that they went above and beyond, didn't even have to, could have asked for money,
Here, have it.
Yeah, here, look.
Every scan,
Exactly.
It shows you as well. It does make you wonder since then how many companies they are sort of have got out there now that are dedicated to going and scanning these old buildings now. Just in case.
You know what? That would make like a lot of sense if we have like digital copies of like the area, the structures and everything. I think that not only would it preserve our history, you could do like virtual tours and stuff like that.
Well, see, this was one of the, especially with the world we live in today, with people being paranoid going outside, and why don't you get a team that goes out with like VR cameras, 180 VR cameras or full 360 VR, however you want to do it, and go around like some of the great museums, the great castles of the world, and put these out for people to watch.
I think that would be amazing. I think though that like a lot of travel places would like argue against that because like why, like I told you, Lady Strider is her heritage is from Scotland, like and like I'm pretty she wants to go and visit, you know what I'm saying, but like it would be different if like we did it virtually. It would be better if you did it in person, but for some people who don't have the money, like they do it virtually,
Yeah, I mean, I've done it with the VR for the PS4. I mean, I go onto YouTube every now and I watch the videos of people walking through Times Square, or you've got the skydivers that drop out of planes, and that stuff's just wild. But they could do things like that. I don't think it would necessarily stop travel or people visiting, because even though you're looking at it on a screen, there is still nothing better than actually being in the real place,
Oh, that's true. That's true.
The sound, the actual sounds, the actual smells, the being able to take part instead of just looking at it through a screen.
Right. No, that makes sense. That makes a lot more sense. I think that you would actually, you know what? You're right, because they would probably even be more inclined to like actually go and visit the place rather than like just see it on the VR or whatever. They'd want like more out of it. They want the experience themselves.
I know after the fire for Notre Dame, I jump onto YouTube with the VR to see videos, because I've never been there. So the only way for me to see how it was to watch a video on YouTube, and the great thing about PlayStation VR is obviously you can do that. So that's how I experienced Notre Dame. So, I mean, one thing I feel crappy for is I'll never get to experience what it was up until that point. I'll get to experience what the new Notre Dame will be once it's restored, but I won't get what the past was.
Right, that's tragic. Like, we do really need to like travel the world. I know here in the States, I've got a uncle who actually said like, we should. The world is big. It's small, but it's big at the same time. And like his feeling is like we should travel within our own areas. Like there's a lot of stuff that like we haven't seen in our own countries, our own states, our own counties, provinces. And I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, like, I still want to see the world. I still want to, like experience what other people experience. I want to understand what other people's cultures are like, what they do for a living, how they live and stuff like that,
See, for me, it's got to be Egypt. I at some point, I need to at least visit those pyramids once.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
That I need to do. I've got my own theories about Egypt.
See, I can't go to Egypt. I think they'll ban me because, like, I'll go and, like, I'll find, like, a little chamber and I'll turn something on and, the pyramids will float or something. Like, it'll be crazy. I can't.
I would completely offend them. I would walk up to the pyramids and I would go, I believe this is Atlantis. It explains the pyramids. I think you're all completely whack. I think you've been sitting and living on Atlantis now for hundreds of years without realizing it. Explain the pyramids, nobody else can.
I saw something that was hilarious on Facebook the other day. It was somebody says we couldn't build the pyramids without alien technology, and then like they show like those that YouTube channel with the guys that just have the sticks and they like build like these mansions and stuff.
Yeah, man, have you seen that? The guys that build the big, massive swimming pools. Out of, like just a mound of dirt, like they get rid of anthills and everything to do that.
Yeah, that's all they do. That is amazing.
That is good. But I mean, it's like you look at Egypt though, and it's a desert. So, has anybody assumed that it might have been green before, but did anybody also think to themselves it might have been underwater for a very long time?
Well, that's why when Origins came out. That was the beauty. That was the draw. I think a lot of people, before they even understood that it was an Assassin's Creed game, they saw, oh my God, it takes place in Egypt, and people were on board. I think that got people on board before you even understood it was an Assassin's Creed game. And then the whole fact that, like Egypt is, I mean, whenever you watch these shows, like I don't know if they've got any conspiracy shows over in Scotland, but over here in the States, we've got this thing called Ancient Aliens.
Ancient Aliens.
They're always showing Egypt. Always.
Have you seen the guy with the hair?
Yes.
Is it Giorgio Tsoukalos or something?
Yeah, I love that guy. He is.
I swear that man has been in touch with aliens. Like, Like they just walk up to him, touch him, and his hair just goes poof, and he's full and all for the next episode.
I'm telling you, like that dude, he is absolutely amazing. When I first started watching it, I was like, oh, this guy is awesome. Somebody told me that he's not even a doctor or anything like that. He's just some like dude. He was like an ex-hairdresser or something. And he
learned it. He apparently learned his trade directly from Eric von Daniken.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So he's like his protege or something.
That's what I heard. I heard like, he has no actual like doctorate or anything like that. And I was like, really? I was like, this dude is like an ex-hairdresser or something. And they're like, yeah,
somebody interesting. If you're into the whole, not necessarily ancient aliens, but your ancient past, somebody you should be listening to is Graham Hancock.
Oh, I haven't heard of him.
Him, I forget the other gentleman's name. Do you watch the Joe Rogan podcast?
Yes.
Well, if you go to Joe Rogan, just type in Graham Hancock, and you're looking for the other boy. I forget his name, and I feel stupid for doing this because he's got some great theories. They've got 2 or 3 podcasts up that are about 4 hours long each, mate. They're well worth a watch. It will make you rethink a lot of stuff. It will make you rethink Atlantis. It will make you rethink an extinction event that happened 13,000 years ago. It will make you rethink a lot of things. And they've got proof of it.
That's actually amazing. Like, I'm definitely going to look that up because, in all honesty, like, you see like a lot of it, especially like with what's going on today. We got the pandemic. We've got all kinds of nonsense going on. Who ever heard of a double hurricane? You know what I'm saying? Like, and in fact,
you've got your mad weather. We've got mad weather. We had a thunder and lightning storm, and I've never seen anything like this in my life before in Scotland. And this had all the kids up. I mean, our sky was literally flashing lightning from about 8 o'clock at night all the way to 7 o'clock in the morning, just with constant bangs every 2 seconds. The sky was filled. I've never seen anything like that in Scotland.
That is absolutely crazy.
So the weather's changing all around the world, man, and drastically.
Yeah, and then it's like, like all kinds of other things are going on. We've got freaking, what do you call it? The Pentagon over here in the States, they said, yeah, aliens exist, and they gave us footage. And, like, people kind of glossed over it. They were just like, there's so much other stuff going on.
Do you know what the great thing about it is when the US government came out and went, yep, aliens are real, here's all your footage, it's almost as if the American public went, well, no duh.
Yeah, we were just like, okay, that's not important right now. Like, like we know that we're ready for worse than that. We've got like, and I'm dying. I'm sitting here and I'm like, the other day though, I was hearing, and this is the latest, I don't know if you heard this, we've got 2 planes that were landing in Los Angeles Express, that airport. And as these planes are landing, they're 3,000 feet in the air, and they're like, there's a dude with a jetpack flying around here. 2 different planes. Like, what is going on? 2020 is doing everything.
This year has just been catastrophe after catastrophe after catastrophe, man. Like, we're losing people left, right, and centre. I mean, Chadwick Boseman, fucking God bless
right.
Him, man. Damn, what a role he did. Like, this year's just been hellish.
It is, and it's just getting crazier. Like, I'm hearing reports. There's 2 guys, two pilots, 2 separate pilots, different directions, and they're both like, yo, there's some dude floating around with a jetpack up here at 3,000 feet. Like, what?
It's the Rocketeer, boy.
Yeah, like, what is going on here? What is happening? Like, nothing surprises me anymore in 2020. It's like,
it really doesn't.
They set whoever was in charge, selected the difficulty. They said, we're not going normal, we're not going hard, we're not going ultra nightmare, we're going 2020. That's the difficulty setting.
We're going to bypass grounded as well. But it's weird though. I mean, especially with this pandemic. I mean, my kids went back to school and they've to wear a mask on the bus, in the playground. They've to wear it while going between classes, but they're allowed to take them off when they're in class.
That's weird.
Like, what's the point in wearing it at all at that point?
That's what I said.
It's why would I, like, come on,
What's
sit
happening,
down in a
Nathan?
classroom of 20 people, let's take your masks off. So you can cough and sneeze all over each other, then put your mask back on to go to the hall, to go to your next class to take your mask off when you're walking with the same people you're in class with.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Like it's very, very bizarre how they're handling this whole thing.
Yeah, we have we have the option. Like my son is going online, so he's not going to be in a classroom. He's going to be online. But the plan is they want to get them 1 or 2 days in the classroom, and I think it's because they want the interaction. They want the kids to interact because that kind of is important. But
well, they don't want them becoming socially distant. This
Right.
was my problem. This was my problem with my daughter during all of this. Is she got too comfortable, like playing The Sims and chilling out in bed and watching Netflix and having dad sort of run about and do everything. Do you know what I mean? So when it came to going back to school, it was a real struggle to like motivate them to get up and go again.
yeah,
So
that
so they need to find some way to nip that bit in the bud. And if the answer to that is okay during this pandemic, 3 days of your learning needs to be done at home digitally, and 2 of those days you come into school, I think that's a very good middle ground.
Yeah, that would make sense as long as, like they know that the kids are safe, along with the immunization charts that they have proof that like the kids had a some sort of test and they know that they don't have the COVID. I think that would be like ideal and stuff like that.
Bang goes your computing law. My computing's been gone for a while, but when it comes to a new game, I've got to get the I've got to get the mum to take the kids for a few days just so I can platinum a game, and then I have to take a break for a couple of weeks.
Not me. I did. That's why I built the studio. I got the green light. It's on. I'm recording. Sometimes
I had the green light.
Sometimes they check and they see that there's no green light, or they see that there's a green light, but they look and they see that there's no recording or whatever, and they're just like, "What's going on?"
That's great. I need to teach my kids how to cook. I really do. That way I can take a night off. I'm going to get them this week though. I've got myself some nice Carolina Reaper chicken breast fillets coming.
Oh.
And I'm going to. They think they're getting just normal chicken this week. Yes, absolutely not.
God, a friend of mine, he gave me a whole box of it looks kind of like a Slim Jim. Like he's really into jerky. He loves making jerky, and like he brings me some of his stuff. I actually I hunted a deer early in the season, and I gave him like a big chunk of deer meat, and he made venison jerky. It was delicious. Like he's a culinarian, but he gave me this. It's almost like a Slim Jim, but it was Carolina jerky.
Wow.
The ghost pepper. Ghost pepper.
Yeah.
That's what he gave me. Ghost pepper, and I was on fire. I couldn't handle it.
Man.
Oh, I was. Yeah.
I've got ghost pepper, gherkins, and pickled onions. They're called the Cycle Company.
Oh.
And let me tell you, man, these things. I did that one chip challenge the other day with one of my mates, and that thing is 2 million Scoville. And let me tell you, the burn on that, man. Like,
Lady
wow.
Strider loves that stuff. She goes out and she gets all kinds of like the hottest anything, and she'll like hook that up, and I'm just like, oh my god. And she eats it like it's nothing. Like she bit into these Slim Jims like she was eating a regular Slim Jim, like it was nothing. I was like, are you kidding? Are you not dying? What are you doing? You're gonna die! And she's like, no. I'm like, oh my god, I'm dying looking at you.
See, Carolina Reaper burns, but the ghost pepper makes me sweat. I just become a mess. Like, I turn into a complete drunk. My speech goes, my head goes nuts, my fingers tingle. Like, I turn into a complete mess of a man on ghost pepper. It's like I'm drooling all over the place. I need somebody to hold a bib underneath my mouth when I'm eating these things, you know?
Yeah, that's what they did with this jerky. Like, I was eating it, and a friend of mine is looking, and he's like, oh, give me a little piece of that. And like he took a bite, like a little tiny nibble, and he's like, oh my god. He's like, I can feel this heat. And he's looking, he's like, is that a seed? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh my god. He's like, no wonder this is so hot.
That's great. I tell you though, if you ever get a chance to do that one chip challenge, you should try it. That's a burn. like you've probably never felt before. And yeah, you can like drink your milk really, really slowly and the burn will go away. But see, as soon as you've swallowed that last bit of milk, it goes from like 1 to 100 in under 2 seconds.
Oh
in your
wow!
mouth.
I might have
like,
to try it.
It's like wow, and we're going to try it again, but we're going to do our challenge differently this time. We're not going to allow the milk because we ran to the milk really, really quickly.
Oh, you guys are gonna die.
So
you're gonna die, Silent. You're gonna die.
Listen, you only live once anyway, man. You know, if you're not going to take, you know, if you're not going to enjoy life, you know, then what's the point?
That's true.
We're gonna go the second time, and we're gonna go without the milk, and we're gonna see just how bad, because you know that chip is bland, it has no flavor. It's a nice crunchy Dorito, but the powder, the Carolina Reaper powder that's on it, as soon as that's right round your tongue. Holy hell, man! Isn't even the word to describe it. The word to describe it probably is illegal.
Nice, I like illegal.
You know, but it's well worth it if you ever get.
It's part of the whole assassin thing.
That's it. Here, you should get one, man. I'll do a one-chip challenge with you on Steam. Right?
I'll try it. I'll try it. I'll see if I can find it here.
You know, because I think over in America, it's the Paco or the Paco chip or something it's called.
I think it's like some crazy. I gotta ask Lady Shredder. She's into that. She'll eat it. She'll do the challenge with us and be like, "Oh, done, whatever," and like still be breathing, still be existing. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, you know, asking my son to find like 99 coins to get me another free man so that like I could come back to life or whatever. You know, like I'll die. I swear, I'll die.
Oh, you will on that.
Yeah, she'll have no problem with it. And yeah, some jerky does have pork, Ethan.
Well, I can tell you though, with the one chip challenge, you'll find that from moment of consumption, that burn in your mouth, even while drinking milk, will last up to 25 minutes. And then after the 25 minutes, your head goes drunk. It's like a massive. It's like if you can imagine what a come down is, like from a wild night. Well,
right.
You probably don't need to imagine. You were young once.
Yes. I'm still young, I feel.
Exactly. I would like to think so. I'm only 36, you know, I've still hopefully got at least 10 years ahead of me. In this bloody world we live in, hopefully 10.
Right?
But it's almost like a come down. Like the way your head goes numb, your fingers go numb, your toes go tingly, your stomach warms up, your chest goes tight. It's the weirdest feeling on that chip.
Oh,
really
God.
Is.
I'm definitely gonna have to try that. Like I don't know how that's gonna react with me. Like my drink of choice is 151 rum, so I don't know if that's.
Oh, that's just gonna add to burn.
Yeah. Lady's trying to like smells it. She's like, "Oh my God, it's rocket fuel. How do you drink this?" You know, like it literally says on the bottle, like, keep away from open flame. This is flammable. Like you could. This is like it's a walking Molotov cocktail. Is what this.
I'll tell you, the worst thing you can do when you're eating hot chilies is have an energy drink.
Oh
my days,
God,
man! It's like an instant heartburn. And there's a reason why they say stick to milk and yogurt.
Oh God. Okay, I'm gonna have to remember that too because I love energy drinks. I love the revitalization.
This chip comes with a bloody health warning. Like, it literally says on the box, if you have any health issues, do not eat this chip.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so you have to, you literally have to be a healthy man.
I'm definitely pretty sure that we're going to have that over here then. Something similar to it. I mean, we have...
Have a beer and bloody hot chip night, you know?
We have... labels. We have stupid labels on a lot of stuff here. You know, we have chapstick and it says, you know, do not use in eyes. You know, we Cheese Whiz that says do not please remove cap for best results. Like what? Who's keeping the cap on?
The best one I saw was it was an American one, and I laughed my head off when I saw this, and I had to look twice to actually see it. It was like, when washing this jumper, please make sure to remove your child first, was written on it. Like on the actual tag of this jumper, and I just started laughing my head off it.
Yeah, that's kind of scary, especially with today's day and age.
Is that our society today when we literally have to warn parents to make sure your child's not wearing the jumper when you put it in the washing machine?
No, I heard something great on the radio the other day. They said when you're like in order not to forget that your child is in the back seat, put something important back there. What's more important than your child?
Wow.
Why? Like they're like leave your purse or your wallet back. I was like, what?
There'll be someone that'll be like, oh, honey, just hold on to my iPhone until we stop the car.
I can't. I saw that. I was like, oh man.
That's bad.
Odyssey twerk, yes.
The kid should be the most important thing, regardless.
That's what I'm saying. What are you talking about? Put something important in the backseat of the car. The kid is already back there. What are you? I've never forgotten my son back there.
I'm the same. I'm very paranoid, especially when it comes to my youngest. Like, even when she's going up and down the stairs, I'm like a wee nervous guy, man, just pure watching, like, oh, if you do, I'm here.
No, I'm at the point right now with my son where I'm like, if you hurt yourself, we're not going to the hospital. You're just going to bleed out. Unless you learn to patch yourself up. Like, he's at the bold stage. He does, like, crazy stuff. I'm like, you got to stop that. Don't do that again. You're going to give me a heart attack. And I refuse to have a heart attack.
See, my oldest's like that. He's bloody 21, but he's got autism and a few other different bloody issues. And I tell you, man, he's such a fucking character. He's a complete nonce, like a complete idiot. He really is. Some of the stuff he comes out with, but I tell you what, I wouldn't change him, man. Like,
that's the important part.
I really wouldn't. Like some of the laughs this boy gives me is just, and he doesn't even mean to. Like, he'll find out something bad, and he'll go on like a full-on 1980s woman's strong. Like, for the whole day. Like, he'll just wander about with a face on him. And it just gives me enjoyment because I can fix it. But he'll never ask me to fix it. So I have to go to him and go, do you want me to fix it?
Hey, look, Midwest Swag, he says he heard that if you leave one shoe in the back, you won't forget your kid.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Not unless you're one of those comfortable people that goes driving in their pajamas with nothing on their feet.
Oh my God! When I used to work, I left work one day, and my coworker, he's behind me, and I look in my rearview mirror and I just see a bear in the back of driving the car behind me. He's got his shirt off. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I like to get comfortable when I drive. I says, I thought you were naked back there. And he's like, no, I just take my shirt off and everything like that. I says, and you drive around like that? And he's like, yeah. I says, you're a really hairy man. I thought that was a freaking bear driving back. And he was like, no, I am a hairy guy, but, it is what it is. And I was like, yeah, does that come in a V-neck? How do you shave that?
See, for me, the most embarrassing thing is I get up about 6:30 in the morning and I take a wee walk to the shop to wake myself up, grab myself my energy drink and then walk back. The most embarrassing thing is when you walk into that shop and you've got girls in their onesies and then you've got 50-year-old ladies in their fucking dressing gowns all wrapped up and it's like 6:30 in the morning, pissing the rain and 50-mile-an-hour winds. You're looking at them and you don't know where to look because you don't want to be called a pervert.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, why do you do this?
Exactly. What's going on? It's too early for this. I can't think about this.
6:30 in the morning and I'm dealing with a 60-year-old in a dressing gown and flip-flops in the pouring rain,
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Welcome to Scotland, man. The shit that goes on here is just ridiculous.
No, me and Lady Strut are definitely going over there, and I'm just going to be like, oh boy. I'm going to try not to be like a tourist, though.
Oh, here, I'll take you to places tourists wouldn't want to go, dude. I'll take you to a proper Scottish pub.
That's what I want to do. I want to go places that they don't go to normally. That I want to actually experience the culture.
Local.
There you go.
A wee local where they all sound like they've been watching Father Ted for 20 years.
Yes, that's what I want. I want I want the experience. I don't want to go and take pictures and look like a tourist. I want to go and just see crazy stuff. That's what I want.
No, that's awesome. Basically, all we need to do then, really, is get you to come over for a night. We'll take you out on a night in the town. We'll get you locked up for the night, and I'll bail you out in the morning. Then that's your Scottish experience.
Nice. It's almost like an American experience. That's exactly what happens here.
Our culture is just intertwined. Oh, that's some funny stuff.
I'm telling you, it's always a good time. It's crazy stuff. You should great.
That'll be a night out, man. No, honestly, I'll take you places. Like, you want to go to Edinburgh Castle? No, I'll take you somewhere better.
That's what I want to do. I want to do stuff like that. Like I have this like knack when I travel. I get in trouble because like I go places you're not supposed to be. I touch things you're not supposed to touch. Like I'm that guy. Like I want to see what happens. Like I want to see.
Thank you for the compliment. But at the same time, ain't nothing wrong with haggis, man. Don't go there with a Scottish man.
I love stuff like that. I love like little like nuances like that. Like I love like goofy little stuff like that. Like I said, like when playing like like the Assassin's Creed 2, and I went and I saw like the actual churches and everything like that from Italy, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, this is amazing. Like my mind was blown. But that's the kind of stuff I want to see. I want to see like little things that they don't show you normally.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that. I love seeing that kind of stuff. Like I love behind the scenes kind of things.
See,
but like.
One thing I'll say, I don't know if you've ever played this. The one thing that originally got me into the whole Templars thing. This is how I found Assassin's Creed. Did you ever play a game called Broken Sword?
No.
Little point and click adventure. I know Broken Sword 5 is available on the PS4, but the original ones I do believe are still only on PC and Android and iOS. But the really old games, I played them when I was about 14, 15, so we're going back a real long way, and that's what introduced me to the Templars. If you like point-and-click story games that actually have a good story, that's one I would highly recommend, because it's all about the Templars, and the whole game takes place in, I believe it's Paris, and you go to like a couple of other different countries, you go to Ireland and stuff like that while you're playing it out.
Well, that sounds interesting. Like I did play a lot of point and click adventures. Like that was like one of my favorite things, playing like Shadowgate, the Uninvited, things like that. Like I love those kind of old school kind of games and stuff like that. In fact, I think the very first game that I ever played that was kind of like a RPG was it was Shadowgate. It was not on the Nintendo. It was like on the
Nice.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, that was like crazy. Like you couldn't move without dying every 5 seconds. And it was stuff like that, but like I got it and I like enjoyed it. But so like do they explain that the Templars are the same thing like in this
Well, see, I don't want to go in too far into the story in case you ever do pick it up and play it. But it basically happens, there's an assassin essentially killing people, and he wears like a costume each time. Like one killing he's dressed as a clown, the next killing he's dressed as like a bloody polar bear, and he's essentially an assassin, and it leads into this story about the church and about the Templars and whatnot, and it really it's a good story. I don't want to ruin it because it is one I feel you should play if you like, especially if you like point and click adventures. But it is a very, very good game. You've got the first one is just Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars. The second one is Broken Sword, The Smoking Mirror. I believe there's a third and a fourth one, but I believe they were only on PC. And then you've got Broken Sword 5, which is the most recent one, which is on PlayStation. I think it's on Xbox and PC as well.
I'm definitely gonna have to check it out. Broken Sword, yeah. I never heard of that or anything like that, but it does sound like it's almost identical to Assassin's Creed. Not exactly, but it and this came out first. This came out well before Assassin's Creed.
Oh, definitely. Well, you play as an American doctor called George Stobart.
Okay.
And you essentially work alongside a French journalist called is it Nico? I forget her second name. I believe her first name is Nico, though. And you work alongside her, and it's essentially unraveling this murder mystery, and then you get kind of pulled into the whole Templar world and such likes. in the world of this assassin and what he's doing. So it's worth a play. It's definitely worth a play.
Yeah, for something like that, I'll definitely check it out. Like that does sound interesting. Our first introduction over here to Templars was, like obviously the stories from, like the Crusades and everything. But then we got Dan Brown who wrote the Da Vinci Code, and that was like really big. That's when people really started getting into assassons or Templars.
That took you to Scotland. Broken Sword, the first game, will actually take you to the same location in Scotland during the actual original Broken Sword game. So this little castle that is in Scotland has been very highly debated when it comes to Templar stuff, because the church itself is very different, especially on the inside. Its portrayal of things is very, very different. It's very Templar. And Dan Brown, I mean, yeah, what a mind. Like, it's believable.
Right.
It's very believable.
Yeah, the first book that I read of his was Angels and Demons, which was like the second movie that they made with Tom Hanks. Originally, it was the Da Vinci Code, but
completely out of order, didn't they?
Yeah, they totally did. But like I could see why, because at the time, the Da Vinci Code was it was gold. It was like absolutely amazing. It was a lot like what's going on in the Assassin's Creed universe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he does have 5 books, Dan Brown. That is incredible. Yeah, he's got, and there's some amazing.
What's the one that takes place in the White House? They're unlocked. There's a vault under the White House or something. I forget the name of that book.
Oh damn.
Inferno was. I've never read the book, but I enjoyed the film. But this book hasn't been made into a film yet, I don't believe.
No, it hasn't. Oh my God, what is it? I know which one you're talking about too. Damn. Yeah,
it's one of the only books I've read that Dan Brown did, and I enjoyed the heck out of that book.
That was like I actually enjoy those books because they're very. I gotta admit, Assassin's Creed is steeped in absolute conspiracy theory.
Oh,
the
absolutely.
whole game is
aliens,
conspiracy. Exactly. It's all kind of stuff like that. And the thing that's wild is that when you see books that are like similar to that, like it's really interesting. Like I remember playing through, I forget which Assassin's Creed. It was part of the Ezio's trilogy, and they were spying on you through the cable boxes. Through like regular cable box. That was one of the things that you unlocked when you did the puzzles, the glyphs that he had and stuff. It showed you audio where like it was like a father and a son, and he's calling and he's like, yeah, my son found a channel and it's showing our names and like our stats, our like heart rates. And
I don't think that was the Ezio collection.
Maybe it was Connor. I don't know. I want to say it was one of them. I know it was early on.
I remember that conversation because they sent a hitman and he showed up at the door and killed him.
Yes.
I remember the conversation, but that's definitely not Ezio's games. Is that not Syndicate?
No, I wanted to say that it was Brotherhood. I wanted to say. I really do. I want to say it was like Brotherhood.
Wait a minute. It would have been Tour Brotherhood because it was a Subject 16 puzzle, was it not?
Yeah.
I would say Brotherhood then, because I remember all the Assassin's Creed 2 puzzles start to finish, and I don't believe there was the phone call side of things wasn't introduced until Brotherhood. Yeah, that's when with Brotherhood you had to do the chess game. You had to play the chessboard game each time you did it.
Yes.
So yeah, that would have been Brotherhood then. But no, I remember that conversation because it was giving him all his credit card details, dates of births, family members, and he phoned up about it, and then all of a sudden Abstergo shows up and puts a bullet in him.
Yeah, see that kind of stuff like I love. So like when Dan Brown wrote the Da Vinci Code, I was immediately intrigued. Angels and Demons, I was intrigued, but when the thing was coming out as a movie and everything, and it's like really funny because like my mother, I keep playing this game with like other controls. I keep hitting the triangle to synchronize. She,
circle, I believe the Unity.
Yeah. when my mother saw the Da Vinci Code, you know, like she started watching my videos on YouTube, and she was like really interested in like, you know, the Assassin's Creed, because she's like, you know, well, what do I do? So it's kind of funny. Like sometimes I go to my mom's house and we have Assassin's Creed discussions, you know, because she doesn't know what's going on, and she's interested, and I'm like, you got to play the games, Mom. She's like, I'm too old to play games, and I'm like, you can play games, come on.
See, for me, I mean, with Assassin's Creed 2, that's the first game I gave Adam. That intro with his brother, where you have the fight scene, and then you run to the doctors, and you have your little race up the side of the church, and then you have that really glorious opening where it's like Assassin's Creed 2, whoosh, you've got the brothers on. Like, that to me is still the best Assassin's Creed opening there has ever been.
You know what? If you look on YouTube, they actually did that in on the Commodore 64. They remade the opening.
Yeah,
on a tape. Yeah, that was sick.
Man, they've done Destiny and everything on that channel, like the original Destiny with the ghost waking up the Guardian in the Commodore 64.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I was like, man, that was the whole tape right there. That was like 3 tapes right there.
3 tapes, jeez, on Commodore 64, if you didn't have an epileptic fit through the loading screens.
Exactly.
You know, you had to get past those loading screens, man, and sometimes they were 6, 7, 8 minutes long before you were even playing that game.
My son told me, he said he will never complain about load times ever again. I booted up a game for him on the Commodore 64. He was like, no way. You did not live through this. I said, yep. He was like, no way.
Here, listen, that's when we had 56 kilobytes of RAM running our console.
Exactly. Like right now we have freaking pocket watches with more RAM than that. But like back...
the PS5, well, what is it, the PS5 and the Series X, or was it 16 gigs of RAM they're running?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like, come on, man. And the Commodore 64 is 56 kilobytes.
Yeah, like we have watches that are stronger than that. Like
my smartwatch is more powerful than the original NASA rover or NASA landing for Apollo 11.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sitting here like, what?
It's weird looking at technology now, especially when you do realize that something like a smartwatch is more powerful than how man got to the moon and landed on the moon, and it's like, that's on my wrist now. And then that's when you call bullshit on the moon landing and go, wait a minute. No, that doesn't make no sense. Wait a minute, how did you do that on, like, literally the electricity that runs a toaster?
Right, that's it. That's all you had. You had just a calculator and a freaking what do you call it? An abacus, and that's how you freaking landed the.
How did you do that? And my smartwatch is a patent. Like, does that mean my smartwatch can take me to the moon?
It might. It might.
You know, it doesn't make sense. The world we live in today is jumbled, my friend. Jumbled.
It is. It's definitely jumbled.
And
but that's
you know, the one bright thing in all of it has been the games.
Yeah, definitely. The games have gotten a lot of people through a lot of stuff.
Got me through Final Fantasy at the beginning of the year. Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us Part 2, even to
which Final Fantasy?
Oh, the Final Fantasy 7 remake. Fantastic.
Oh, okay.
Fantastic game. I played that as soon as it came out. What a game. Brilliant. Not even a remake, as far as I'm concerned. That's a complete reimagining.
Yeah, it pretty much was. I had it. I enjoyed it. I was like blown away by like how they made everything look. It was pretty cool. I thought, you know.
My one takeaway from that game, other than being beautiful to look at, the music was just brilliant. The music was fan-bloody-tastic in that game. What a way to take the original music and just make it epic.
Exactly.
You know, there's not a moment in that game, where you sit and you feel to yourself, I'm getting bored.
Exactly.
You know?
Midwest Swag says technology is making us stupid.
It is. Well, the internet's making us completely idiotic.
Yeah. People believe anything on the internet.
Today, you know, the generation growing up now has grown up with the internet. Our generation grew up without it for a long enough period. This is why the people in their 40s just kind of throw their hands up in the air and go, what is
exactly.
this? You know what I mean? It's the generation growing up after us that's been completely influenced by technology, the internet, the mobile phones, you know, we just want to play games. I'm not interested in having a £1,400 graphics card. I mean, like, this might be something you're cool with. I just want a £500 console that's going to allow me to play my games.
Exactly, that's it.
You know,
well, people are crazy.
Exactly. And my daughter wants the latest iPhone, and I look at her and go, "Can I not just get you an Android? It's better. There's less crap to deal with. You don't have to deal with Apple.
Right? It just works. It does everything you want it to do anyway.
You know, if you can't get it on the store, you can sideload it."
Yeah, you're basically paying for the name. That's like one of the oldest things in the book.
Yeah.
Is just paying for the name.
That's exactly what it is. But yeah, it's a very strange world now. Very strange world now.
It is.
But we started this night saying that we were going to talk about Assassin's Creed 1, bud, and we have done about an hour and maybe about an hour and 10 minutes.
We seem to get sidetracked.
We have not spoken a word about Assassin's Creed 1.
Well, no, we did. We spoke a little bit about it. Then we went into Valhalla, and we were keeping on track with Assassin's Creed. And then, just like everything else, we get sidetracked, which is kind of fun because we get the comments, we get like things going and everything, and it's just interesting. This podcast is very interactive, honestly. That's what it is.
I don't think we can say we're going to concentrate on this and that to the next.
I know. We just gotta throw it out there.
If we just get sidetracked, let's just start having a conversation and then let's just see where it goes. Because
that's what it's gotta be. Yeah.
Like, as much as I would I really want to sit down and just talk Assassin's Creed lore, and we do. Maybe we need to do maybe not a podcast for it. Sorry, but maybe a dedicated video about it.
Yeah, maybe that.
Maybe doing something like that instead of doing it in podcast, because when we're doing it in podcast form, we just seem to have too much fun blethering crap.
Exactly, that's what it is. We're talking and everything. We got like we got the viewers like commenting like Midwest. He actually said kids can't spell or write cursive, which is true. That's true. Like a lot of kids can't. They're not learning that in school.
Like my son, I tell you now, like. None of it. He never goes and meets his mates in person, but he's on with his mates every single night playing that Fortnite.
Oh yeah.
So in a way, he still gets that interactivity. As much like I still say to him, "It's a lovely day. Go on off outside, kid. Go and meet your pals." And he's like that, but none of my pals are out. They're all on Fortnite.
Yeah.
It's just welcome to the world we live in. The generation growing up now is growing up in a digital age, and this is what's happening around the world now.
Pretty much.
Your thoughts, your imaginations, your fears, and everything are open to everybody, and everybody acts. I mean, Twitter, is a cesspool of people that are just, you get some really smart people, you get some really dumb people,
On Twitter, I usually have like a bunch of like other gamers and things like that and everything. But lately, it's just been like a lot of naked ladies. It's been like a lot of like TNA, and I'm like, why am I seeing this? Like, what? I didn't subscribe to anybody's like OnlyFans or anything. Like, why am I? Not that I mind it, but like at the same time, it's like, why am I?
You're being honest. You're being honest. I like it.
Yeah, like why am I seeing this? Like, what the hell is going on here? Like, I didn't subscribe. I didn't look at something. JJ even says kids don't even know how to make a cake. They don't. Luckily my son, he's 11 years old. He knows how to cook. He is very interested in cooking. He's very interested in being, like independent.
See, this is where I'll give props to my niece. My niece is young. My oldest daughter is 13, but my niece is younger. My niece knows how to do bloody mince and potatoes and spaghetti bolognese and things like this, and I look at my daughter and go, "You just know how to spend my money." Where did I go wrong?
I'm telling you, that's crazy. Yeah, kids they're not learning, and that's again part of like why, like my big thing with people that are telling me like, oh, we don't need present day in Assassin's Creed because we're really playing for the history lesson, and I'm like, no, don't be stupid. Don't do that.
You're not getting a history lesson. You're getting maybe a historically accurate story, but you're getting it very twisted because the assassin was never a living being during that time period. So they've had to twist the story in order to incorporate the assassin.
Exactly. And then the other thing is that, and I'm going to say, a good friend of mine, Jonathan Kincaid, he. When I had first got my Xbox 360, I met this kid and a bunch of other people. They had their own clan, the Misfits, and they got like a bunch of stuff. In fact, one of the guys that does like a lot of music, I'm trying to get him to do music for like our podcast and other things like that. His name is Pat the Best, PATDABEST. If you look at his channel, he's got like a lot of like just crazy musical beats and things like that. That's what he does. And met him there and whatnot. We were all playing the zombies on Black Ops when Black Ops first came out. And in that, I think the first Black Ops, it's President Kennedy, it's Castro and Nixon and the Secretary of State. And, like obviously they never all met. They never all met in the White House. The White House was not attacked by zombies. And, it was just a fun game. But the thing is that this guy, Jonathan, like he got so interested in who these people were because, I told him, I says, oh my God, we're playing as the president, we're playing as Castro and blah, blah. And he was like, well, who are these people? I said, they were real people, blah, 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 back in the day, and he got interested. He started studying. He was a kid back then. He is the foremost authority that I know on John F. Kennedy. He knows all kinds of quotes. There were times where like I'm just feeling down and he will throw a JFK quote at me and I will perk right back up. And, that's the positive side of, like video gaming and stuff like that. But, it's not a history lesson. That never happened.
So, seeing as how you're on a Call of Duty, I've got to ask, did you watch the leaked Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War multiplayer footage that got... Because some streamer who got access to an alpha decided it would be a bright idea to live stream it, so good luck enjoying Activision's legal team on that one, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. But, no, he figured the views were worth, the legal battle, I guess.
He must be in some monumental bloody trouble, man. Like, he posted their voice chat and everything in that video.
Oh, wow. No, I didn't see that.
Noah J, who is a Call of Duty YouTuber, I watched him a couple of weeks ago for one of the Black Ops things when they were revealing it. Now he's clearly playing this game because his name's popping up on the screen, and this is a Call of Duty I've never seen before. It looks like Modern Warfare.
Really?
Like, it really does. It looks like Modern Warfare.
So are people like, just complaining about it? Are they giving it a shot? Are they saying, this is just the preliminary?
Well, a lot of people seem to be quite happy with it from what I'm seeing, because Treyarch have said, like, the one thing I find with Modern Warfare is, have you played it? Yeah?
Yeah, I've played bits and pieces. Like, Call of Duty is not really my thing. I do like first-person shooters, but I don't know, like, it's kind of tough for me to, like, play it.
For me, it's one of those things. My mates buy it, so I feel obligated to get it every year.
Right. That's what I used to do on Xbox.
Yeah, so I buy it. I play it. I find it very slow, very frustrating. It's just frustrating. You end up swearing at your screen more. The matchmaking's a bit off. Something doesn't feel right with it. And that's why I got out of the Black Ops stuff. And people are saying it looks really, really fast-paced, and you can see in the footage that the guys are sliding about doing their slide shooting and stuff. And they're talking about how it's really fast-paced, and I'm going, that is Modern Warfare. It's the same game, just on a different map with different guns. And people seem to be getting hyped up as heck about this, man. And I'm looking at it, and I'm scratching my head, going, "What is this? This looks like an expansion."
So you're not into it personally?
Yes, it's the same problem I have with Valhalla. It's like I'm looking at Valhalla and it looks cool, but I'm not buying it. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about it that I can't buy into.
I think that what a lot of people, the problems with Valhalla is, they're worried about the repetitiveness. They're worried about like the food system. You're always going to get that. You're always going to get, like where we're worried about like, like how they're going to like redo this. Is it a rehash? Is this really worth it? Stuff like that. So, I could see it. A lot of people, I know a lot of people that were like turned off of Assassin's Creed from Origins. They were like, it's absolutely not an Assassin's Creed game. You know?
So, with Assassin's Creed, with next gen coming out, this one technically is meant to be the end of the Ancients trilogy, yeah?
Supposed to be, yeah.
So, all those rumors about Rome that was meant to be the third one, and the Vikings mysteriously come out of nowhere, was that a misdirect, or do you feel that they decided Rome was good enough to get the next gen treatment, and that's something maybe Aya gets her own game?
No, I don't think. See, that was the thing. What happened originally, when we originally heard about the new Assassin's Creed that was going to come, of course, right away, everybody was talking about, oh, it's going to be China, it's going to be Japan, it's going to be like whatever and everything. And, you know, like I knew it wasn't, because like I know that that's what happens every year. Every Assassin's Creed, they always say we're going to Asia. And, you know, we end up not going to Asia. Then what they ended up doing was they said...
China is not next, bud. China's not next. You want to play Assassin's Creed in China? Go to Tsushima.
I really do feel like they probably would do an Assassin's Creed China, but I don't see them doing it. I really don't.
Do you know, if they do it, and let's just say if Ubisoft look at Ghost of Tsushima and went, right, somebody got it right. Now we know what we're doing. Now we know the basis of a good China game. One, what time period would you place it? Because you can't put it in the same time period as Ghost of Tsushima. It has to be its own unique time period. Is it even Tsushima itself, or do they take it into mainland Japan?
They can't take it into Tsushima. There's plenty of islands in Japan where they could take it, but I think that they would do it out of China. Number one, just to be different. You gotta make differences. That's the big thing.
I believe you're not looking at the actual samurai at this point. If they go to Japan, you're looking at the ninja. It's going to be a story based on a ninja. I mean, it has to be. I mean, if they flat out do, here's Jin Sakai 2.0 for Assassin's Creed, they're going to get backlash for that. Like, they're going to get hit with, you did nothing but copy.
Exactly.
So their character has got to be unique. So he cannot be a samurai. He cannot be in Tsushima. Yes, the Mongols invaded multiple times, but where do you place the ninja in time? And you know, Genghis Khan invades China.
It would have to be, but then what do you do from there though? Like it's going to be Mulan. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta...
Could you imagine it? I am an assassin, my name is Mulan.
Yeah,
I'm not allowed to be a woman, so... One of your assassin outfits is going to be white cloth around my chest.
No, they're definitely gonna do a male...
They need to do an actual female-centric assassin. They have to do one. The amount of rubbish and crap that Ubisoft has been getting... They've got to just go all in and go, do you know what? People are cool with female assassins. Let's just do an actual female assassin.
They won't do it. You want to know how many times, like, I'll do like a live stream and I'm playing as Cassandra and people are like, why are you playing as Cassandra? You're a boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we still have that mentality.
One, she's the canon character, and two, she's a better character than Alexios was, man. Alexios' voice went right through me. I could not stand listening to that man talk.
Well, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people are saying they I remember I said I play Cassandra because Cassandra's the canon character. Somebody told me right off the bat. Somebody told me, oh, but Alexios is the canon character if you play as Alexios. And I said, no. Alexios is your character if you play as Alexios, but in all media, if they make an Assassin's Creed movie, cartoon, comic book, Cassandra is exactly, and that is who they go with. And there are so many people, that's why they give you the choice now where it's male or female. Honestly, Liberation did not do good, not because it was on the PS Vita.
I bought my Vita for Liberation. Like, Liberation was the reason why I bought a Vita in the first place. If it hadn't been for that, I wouldn't have got it.
Well, it didn't do that well. And I got the special edition Vita for Assassin's Creed Liberation as well. But the
Yeah,
thing
'cause
is
I
that
got that one. It was the white Vita that came
yeah,
with it.
exactly. So now the thing was that people were upset, like, but it's a girl, it's a woman, like, why are we playing? So that's why Ubisoft decided, because some people she was well received, some people she wasn't. So that's why they decided, we're going to go with this thing where you could pick a man or a woman. You could play either or.
See, one thing I have to say is, like, these people that are out there that look at Valhalla, I mean, like, I've been a long time Assassin's Creed fan, so I have my issues with the franchise as they stand, and I'm sure we'll get into them over the coming podcasts, but don't give Ubisoft shit for some of the stuff that their employers did, and definitely don't, let that take away from the enjoyment of the new game that's coming out. Because the game is still made by people who are passionate about making games.
Right.
That just because one person did a shitty thing doesn't mean that everybody should look at that game and go, oh, it's poison.
Exactly.
It's still going to be a good game. It's still got love behind it. It's still got dedication, a team of people. So my hope for Valhalla is, even though I'm at the point with Assassin's Creed where, and I've discussed this with you, I have reservations now. I don't get what they're doing present day. I don't like some of the choices they're making. But don't let what's happening over at Ubisoft, man, take away from these games. I mean, if you want to play Assassin's Creed, you play Assassin's Creed. Don't buy it just because one numpty over there decided to go do something that was wrong.
Right.
And he got called out on it, And I hear a lot of people talking about that, especially some YouTube channels where they're like, they have people asking them, oh, this is going to take the enjoyment out of the game. Well, not really, because the game is not the person.
Exactly.
And I just wanted to throw that in there, because that's something I see all the time. Even talking to my friends who talk about Assassin's Creed, it's, oh, I don't know if I can support that game because of this. And I'm like, dude, man, the game did nothing wrong to you.
Exactly. It was poor decisions, and poor decisions are made. But you know what? Honestly, if you're a true fan, and this, again, I want to shout out everybody. I want you guys to, if you have a Facebook, YouTube, go check out, if you're interested in doing video games or streaming, Twitch, YouTube, anything, as a business, go take a look at the Gamerpreneur. This guy, Dr. Bradford Carlton, he is a genius. He was just saying on a podcast that he did, I want to say either yesterday, today, I chain watch his stuff now. And he was saying that in situations like that, real fans don't care what, like the company or the person or whatever is going through. He said you could be caught up in a scandal, and your real supporters, the ones that, have stood by you, since the beginning of time, those are the ones that are going to keep sticking by you, and they're going to keep supporting you. You're still going to be gaining steam. You're going to be gaining steam because, you're going to have like a lot of haters. Like, I literally have people that are subscribed to me just so they could dislike everything I do. You still gave me that sub. You're still giving me that view. Like you come on and you dislike it. That's fine. Some people that as soon as I put up the video, the very first thing is a dislike. And I don't sweat it because like the next 5-10 people are going to be likes. But the thing is that, like he was saying, like in a situation like that, and it applies to Ubisoft, people are still going to support them just because, no, Swag, I don't think it's going to be like that. I think it's going to be like the old Assassin's Creed games where, like, they had medicine. They carried medicine. You're getting your butt kicked. You use medicine, and that way, you survive. I don't think it's going to be like, you have to, like, stop and go cook a meal and, prepare a culinary thing. I don't think it's going to be like that.
And if you're playing the game properly and you're out in the open world, then it's going to be like all your resources. You're going to come across everything you need really easily,
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel. But yeah, like what he was saying though was that your true supporters are still going to stick with you, regardless of scandal or anything like that. And then he used President Trump. He says, like everything that this guy is doing, like people are still supporting him, because they're real fans of his and everything like that. He says that's,
and you know what? He'll probably win this year as well.
Did not guy who predicted the winners of every single election for the past 50 years without fail has predicted him to lose, and
God help you then.
a lot of people are gonna vote against him.
Well, do you know what? Something's got to happen over there for you, man, because
it's gonna be a civil war.
Yes,
I'm gonna do my next podcast. I'm gonna do my next podcast live from a bunker. That's what's gonna happen.
Listen, I'll make sure I get you that big keg of rumble with you there, man, because that will be a podcast. We will talk Assassin's Creed World War II.
Exactly.
Well, you've got gunfire firing over your head, getting wrecked on rum, and I'll sit here in Scotland while I get wrecked by thunder.
Exactly. It's gonna be nuts, but yeah, like he used him as an example. He says, "Hey, look, this guy, for his supporters, his real fans, like some people are turning against him." He says, "But like his real fans, like the guy could do no wrong. The guy could say something, and people will justify what he said."
Yeah, see, I think the only thing that worries me about this situation at Ubisoft at the moment, and I think it is the dare I say his name, Ashraf Ismail. What he did was not condonable, but he was the only man there with a clear vision of what Assassin's Creed was.
Well, again, what else I want to say is that, like, a lot of my viewers that say, like, why are you playing as a girl and everything, it's a cultural thing. And the thing is, I can't be angry at like a cultural thing. If that's your culture, if that's how you raised, who am I to go against that? You know what I'm saying? Exactly. That gets into like what we were saying earlier about like regional things and cultural things. Like I get that. I'm not mad at that. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what you were used to. This is, I mean, they at least tried to make changes. They had Cassandra. They had the girl from Liberation as a main character and stuff like that. They're doing the the male female dynamic where you could choose and stuff like that. So they're not completely like just one side or anything. They do want to address a broader audience. A lot of women are playing games now. And I know that like
all very fair points. Very fair points. But even my daughter plays games. I mean, my kids have all got PlayStations in the room. My daughter likes The Sims. She does a bit of Fortnite with my kid and whatnot. But yeah, I mean,
and it doesn't matter.
10 years ago, I would say to my sister, "Do you want to play games?" She'd be like, "Oh, get out of here! Games are for dumb people."
Yeah, that was the thing. Like back in the day, that was the stigma. Boys played video games. Girls didn't. It's a different world.
Barbie dolls, man.
Exactly. It's a different world. And the thing is that, like, one thing I'm going to say is that the statistics are way off because they're including, like female gamers in, a lot of mobile games. I think they're adding those stats when they're talking about, so like, they would consider my mom a gamer. And my mom is definitely not a gamer. My mom is a Candy Crusher. She's not a gamer. Like I wouldn't consider her a gamer. So they're adding stats that like women in their 30s are becoming gamers and stuff like that. I think those stats are wrong. We need a real world count of stats of console and PC gamers. Those are hardcore gamers. And women are coming up in those stats. Women are playing games, and they are good. And the thing is, I do not like to use the term gamer girl. You're a gamer.
It's derogative, man. You're a gamer like the rest of us. Like, you play games, you're a gamer. You shouldn't be a gamer girl. Like, I'm not a gamer boy. I'm a gamer.
Exactly. You're not a Scotland gamer. I'm not an American gamer, except in the context where we're talking about region. Okay? If I'm describing you and I say, yeah, he's a gamer out of Scotland. You know what I'm saying? You're not a Scotland gamer. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no gang war going on where, like you're over there and I'm over here and that's the use to describe you. So why would I describe a female who's playing video games as a gamer girl? Like I've always hated that term.
See, here's an idea for you, and this is where I wish Ubisoft would get smart. Now, Cassandra worked, okay? As a canon character, she worked. I thought she was a very lovely character. I enjoyed every moment I played with her. That sounds dirty, I know, but it is what it is. She's a good character. How about Ubisoft maybe approaches somebody like Amy Hennig and goes, look, we want to please the female side, but we don't want to disrespect the male side. Let's have a good Assassin's Creed game. I mean, Amy Hennig in charge of an Assassin's Creed game, especially a female-led Assassin's Creed game, with none of the nonsense that these companies are putting in front of people these days, I think that would sell.
I would be amenable to that. I think that would be like a great Assassin's Creed game. I think that what happens, though, is that there's a lot of fear that it would be, you know, like a social justice warrior type game. I think that's what people are worried about. They're worried, you know, it's going to be all about...
This was what I was saying with the middle ground, have the middle ground without the bull.
Right. And like you know who really... You know who really messed this up for all of us? Anita Scarsazian.
Oh, God, mate, she ruined Mass Effect. She ruined The Last of Us.
Yeah, with her nonsense, you know, like, I'm all for, like, first of all, every time I've ever met a feminist, I've always been upset. I've been like, oh, okay, bye. You know, like, I met a couple of feminists who are actually on board with the whole equality thing.
Yeah. Well,
you know, and
that's
that I'm amenable to. That I enjoy. I was like, okay. I was like, you know, this is
all about them, though. It's all about them.
Yeah, no. When you meet a feminist who it's all about women, that's a feminist. That's somebody who's pretending to be a feminist. Feminists, like real feminists, the real feminists that I've met, they are all for equality. They don't want to take away Father's Day. They don't want to, you know, like only have like female-made game. They want, you know, like literal equality. They don't want, you know, like the woman to be weak. You know, but they do want, you know, like if you have the love story, you have the love story. But, you know, don't make the woman weak.
They can try and take Father's Day away if they want, but there's people out here, like me. I am a single dad. I look after my 3 eldest. For half of every week, I have my 2 youngest. You know, I do that myself every week. Now, they can take Father's Day away if they want. Will it bother me? No. I'm 36 years old. It's like a birthday. It doesn't mean nothing to me. Like Christmas. Christmas doesn't mean anything to me. It's about the kids.
Right.
You know, like, they can do what they want to do. Ultimately, it's not going to bother me.
Well, you know, that's you know, like the thing though, you know, like it shouldn't be about, you know, like over here it's all about like, you know, men are rapists and stuff like that. Like me being a single dad myself, I'm raising a rapist. That's how they look at it. And I'm like, wow, you know, like I'm raising a gentleman. I'm raising a future president.
Imagine giving birth to your son and looking at your kid for the first time and go, wow, it's a boy. I'm raising a rapist.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's how they look at it. So that's why, you know, I look
at my kids and I go, especially when they were born, and I turn around to every single one of them when they're born and I go, you will do better than me, you will do better than me, and I will make damn sure you do better.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I know my mistakes now. This is the age I'm at. You will not repeat them.
Exactly. So that's like a big thing, you know, like that's why like Anita Scarsazian, like she messed a lot of stuff up. She ruined a lot of stuff for a lot of people. A lot of people, you know, like, I mean, I want equality in games, but the thing is that it's become an us versus them thing in video games, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a male versus female. I enjoyed playing as Cassandra. Not because, you know, like it was a hot piece of ass or anything like that. She was a great character.
And she was a hot piece of ass.
Yeah, well, yeah, but she was a great character. She was, you know, like
you could tell the role was written for her, and not like
yeah, you know, like she did a lot of like crazy stuff, and I think I was kind of blown away when she had the kid with the other guy in the Legacy of the First Blade. I think that, you know, like a lot of people, there was a big outcry. People were mad because they wanted her to be. they wanted her to be, you know, like whatever. Like you choose.
Well, that was the promise Ubisoft made. You choose what you want to be, and then they're like that. Now we're going to force you to have a kid with a guy, even if you've role played your character as whatever. Like, and they rightfully got backlash for it.
Right. Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
I see that. To me, I didn't mind that so much because, like, to me, it was like character development.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
See, for me, that didn't bother me because she had to carry her bloodline on somehow. You know, it's Assassin's Creed. So for me, it wasn't a big hit. But for a lot of people, it really was. Well, you told me I could roleplay the ass out of this character, and you just took that away from me. So I can see their argument at the same time.
Right. No, I can see it too. But like at the same time, like I don't know. Like, yeah, maybe they should have came out with another thing. I mean, it really was an unnecessary storyline. It wasn't something that they really needed to like add, like her having her bloodline. Because where was her bloodline now? I mean, yeah,
so
Aya.
Here's a feedy for you. Instead of just having her sleep with somebody random, how about Bayek and Aya go their separate ways at some point? Because obviously her kid went to Egypt. At some point, Cassandra ends up in Egypt, gives Bayek the bloodline that he actually needs, falls in love with him. Aya's away doing her thing in Rome. There's your game next year. I mean, they could have done something very creative with this.
Yeah, but at the same time, she meets Bayek, let's say, and she does that. Now, Bayek doesn't even know that he's sleeping with his ex-wife's great-great-great-great-grandmother, you know?
does he need to know? Look at the time period. She's a young, hot, attractive young woman in that time period.
That's true.
Bayek's going to look at her and go, wow, you know, you're a very beautiful woman. They have a one-night fling. Cassandra knows exactly what she's doing. She understands. She needs to make sure the bloodline keeps going. This is why I have fully predicted that Ubisoft is going to pull Eve out of their pocket at some point now.
Yeah, I do think that they you know what? It would make sense if they went back to like an Adam and Eve style game where we get where the Isu started.
Eve's still alive. Well, Eve's still alive. We know she still exists, but where the hell is she?
How do we know that Eve is still alive? Like, where did we get that?
I'm sure in later Assassin's Creed lore they talk about Eve raising an army.
Really? I'm gonna have to look back.
Because she was meant to go against Juno and stuff like that. It was meant to be like what would have been the original story's endgame. I forget his name. The ghost from Guardian. He voiced Desmond Miles. What's his name? It escapes me now, but he talked about what Ubisoft wanted to do with the Desmond character and about how Desmond was going to get to the point where he could go into his memories without the Animus. He'd be able just to go there when he needed to.
Damn, I didn't hear this. That would have been excellent. That would have been an amazing.
Well, what I'll do is I'll dig the interview out. I forget the actor's name. He voices the Ghost in Destiny.
Oh,
he voiced Desmond Miles.
Nolan North.
Nolan North, that's the boy. He did a panel where he spoke briefly about one of the fans in the convention had asked him, you know, what happened, and he had said that Ubisoft had great ideas about how Desmond was going to become the assassin in the present day. He was still going to have to go into time periods, but because of the bleeding effect and him being the only one able to control it, he was able to sort of transition. He'd be able to sit down in a seat, close his eyes, and just go there.
Oh my god, that would have been amazing.
And that got scrapped for some reason with Assassin's Creed 3, and even he says he doesn't know why. I'll dig that interview out for you, and I'll send you the link so you can watch it yourself.
Put the link here to the put the link here to in the podcast, so that way like everybody could, because that's amazing. I would love to see something like that.
Let's go. Let's have a look.
I wish they would have went that route. That would have been absolutely amazing, because if you think about it, if he has the power to control the Animus just through will alone, like he could just dive into his own memories, that would be freaking amazing. That would mean that he would transcend not just our technology but the Isu technology.
Yeah, exactly. And this is why Nolan North. Like, give me a second. I need to make sure. I need to actually.
Yeah. That would have been amazing.
he discusses his games, Uncharted, the Batman series, but he also gets to Assassin's Creed, more specifically.
Oh, there it is.
He talks about the original plan for it, and I just thought it's exactly what this channel needed.
Right, where's share?
Guys, this right now. If you guys enjoy the video and feel like better down below.
Right, I found it. I'm going to pause this and right. How do I put this to your chat? I should be able just to copy the link. Yeah.
Yeah, you should be able to copy the link and then just go to the to our podcast here and just put it in a comment.
Copy link.
And then that way, the viewers could like watch for themselves. I think that would have been a way better way to go than Desmond's death in 3.
It would have been, and it's a theory that's always bugged me. Yeah. Right, so here we go. That's YouTube. Look this up. Mind you.
And do you think that would have been a natural, like a natural progression?
Yes, I think it was. I think that this is where Clay Kazmarek failed. Is they could get the memories, but he was not able to control the bleeding effect. Hence the madness side of things, losing his mind.
Right.
As where with Desmond and Lucy talks about is like such in Brotherhood, where she says, you know, we're doing things differently with you. We're being more careful. We're being relaxed. We're slowed down. We're giving it to you in small stints.
Right.
I really think Desmond was going to be the one that could control the bleeding effect outside of the Animus. And Nolan North alludes to such a thing in this.
That would have been absolutely amazing.
Right. If I've got that right, this should be the link coming up.
That would have been absolutely amazing. I would not have been able to handle it if that's the direction that Assassin's Creed would have went.
But this was the last time he talked about it, and this was, I believe, 2015.
Oh my
God! The story was drastically different moving on after Revelations, but something happened at some point that made them switch course with Assassin's Creed 3.
Why do you think they killed off Lucy in the whole Ezio thing?
I don't know, because Brotherhood was an absolute tease for a love story.
Right.
And that really did bug me. I don't know, has that come up for you yet?
It hasn't yet. I don't see it.
Yeah, I've posted it, man, but it's not popping up.
I don't know. We'll see. Like, give it a couple of minutes and we'll see. But what
I'll do is I'll send you it on PlayStation Message. That way you've got the link. You can post it as well if it doesn't pop up.
All right. Yeah, I couldn't believe that they killed Lucy off. I do feel like they were going for a love story and everything like that, and then they just...
Mate, the way they were flirting with each other when they were going around under the auditory villa...
Right.
They were flirting. Like, there's no getting around that.
No. It was definitely flirting. It was heavy and everything. Like, he really did like her. And I kind of feel like, I don't know where it went from there. Like, out of nowhere, it was this, like, mess where... You know, we weren't seeing it anymore. We weren't seeing the love story or anything. All of a sudden, it became this like really random. We end up killing her because she was supposed to betray them and stuff like that. Where did we get that from? Why did she betray them? Like, what was the thing? And then they said, you know,
she was a double agent, wasn't she?
Yeah, that's what they said.
To infiltrate Abstergo, and then while she was at Abstergo, they essentially turned her against the assassins. Right.
So my thing was like, you know, why did they do that? Like, where did they get that from? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just
she clearly didn't want it to happen because she felt great guilt over Clay and what they did to him.
Right.
You know, that was part of the whole Brotherhood and the Assassin's Creed 2 thing, is we ain't going to let that same thing happen to you.
Right.
So was she saying that because I buggered up and I got the last subject wrong, or I need to go very carefully with you because if I mess up this time, I'm going to die to the hands of the Templars, and then she ends up dying to the hands of Juno?
I don't know. Okay, it just came up right now for me. That's the link to that Nolan North interview that you just talked about.
Yeah. If for some reason I've posted it in chat, but it's not popping.
I don't know. That's kind of weird. But yeah, like I don't understand like why they decided to go that route with her. Like I thought that something was going to happen between them, and then I don't know. Like honestly,
I thought that was going to be the woman that carried Desmond's line forward, because there's not much talk about who Desmond actually had his son with in the first place. I don't think, unless it's covered in the comics, in which case I don't have a clue.
Yeah, it's covered in the comics, but it's like. I don't know, like I haven't seen the comics, I haven't read it. All I know is that like it's covered in there. I've been trying to like get my hands on the comic because there's apparently like a lot of side stories and everything that they're throwing in the comic series that they really should be throwing, you know, like to us, like the players, and they're not.
One thing I need to look into is I remember reading somewhere that they killed Desmond's son in the comics as well.
Yeah, that's what somebody was saying. At some point, somebody had mentioned that they killed him. That he was like a weak character. They just killed him off.
Yeah, so it's almost as if they used him in the comics to get rid of Juno, and then it was like, right, we're done with Desmond. Because if you look at Origins, they brought in William Miles at the end, and then he just disappeared in Odyssey. He was nowhere.
No, he was that. See, that makes no sense to me. Like, why are they bringing these characters in? And
it's almost as if they came to they sat down making these games and went, right, do you know what? We just need to get away from the Miles name completely.
Yeah, see, to me that doesn't make sense because he was your entry into the series. Yeah. He was the series.
Yeah, and he opened up the Antiquity series. William Miles did anyway with Origins. You know, he opened that up for Layla. Right, here's the start of your story, and then poof.
I think though that if Miles was still alive, that it would be him and Layla that were getting together. I could see them killing off Lucy for that, if that was the situation, but it wasn't even that.
If Desmond was still alive.
Yeah.
But why would they? If Desmond was still alive, right? And you would assume by the time that Desmond would meet Layla, that Lucy would be with the assassins again full time. Like, surely she would have been found out by then.
Right. So if let's say Lucy, let's say they wanted to keep Lucy dead, but they wanted to keep Desmond alive, they would have had Layla as his love interest. Layla would have, because their beginnings, they're polar opposites. Where Desmond was kind of like, you know, insecure and unsure, Layla just thought she was the shit.
Well, see, here's the thing then. If that's the story you would go by, then I would say kill Lucy where you killed Lucy. Because Desmond has got to experience a major loss. He has to experience defeat. So maybe that would be the turning point for Layla. You know, this great, amazing guy has seen something in me. Maybe I should, you know, temper myself down, then maybe the staff will work properly and I won't become a psycho.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like if Desmond was still alive,
also they could have brought Desmond back from the dead. Now let's be real. We
they've
got the cloak which brings things back to life, and they've got his DNA, which means they've got his entire genetic memory up to the point he dies, which could be implanted into a clone of Desmond. They have his DNA, they can clone him, and they can put his memory back inside a shell. Why has this not been talked about yet?
I see that. I don't know. Well, no, they did talk about it in the comic. That was the original thing. What happened was that Desmond's son somehow was a sage, and he became aware of the shroud. He was going to get the shroud and bring his father back to life. But Juno was trapped in some machine. She wanted him to get the shroud so that he could bring her back to life. And then he ended up actually bringing her back to life and killing her completely. And that was, you know, a kid's doing this all while he's like 8 years old or something.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense. Like, I don't know how he died. I heard he died. But it's like, why are you doing this? What are we really getting at? Where are we really going with this?
Yeah. And this is why I say to you, this is where I worry about the story, is it needs a direction. And this is something I don't think Ubisoft has got with Assassin's Creed, is they don't have a direction. they do a present day and they go, well, okay, like it's almost as if they go, we've got a great plan for you being an assassin, where you're going to go, what you're going to do. But present day, nobody's really interested in it. But there's the 10% that are. So let's throw at least something together that will move the story forward. It's like, well, no. What you could have done is you could have showed us Juno being killed by Desmond's son. That's one thing you could have done.
Mm-hmm.
You could have had that in the game. You could have given us an actual banging ending to a game.
Right.
You know? The next thing you could have done is you could have resurrected Desmond, which is then going to make your present day relevant again. Because the hardcore fans that have been crying out, telling you that killing Desmond was a bad mistake from the beginning, are immediately going to jump back on board.
Yeah, some people love Layla, some people hate Layla, but a lot of people will admit that, like, having a present day protagonist works.
Yeah. I don't say get rid of Layla. Don't get rid of her at all. Keep her there, but you've got to give her purpose. At the moment, she is somebody who has held a staff for a couple of months, who put Otzelberg on his bloody stomach and then, as far as I'm aware, essentially impaled him through the spine.
Right.
And it's, well, where are you going? And this is where I have my theory, where you're not Layla in the Animus for the next one. I think you're going to be Otzelberg.
Right, it's possible.
You know, it's you're talking vampire. You're talking Viking heritage. Otzelberg looks like a goddamn Viking. Let's be real.
Yeah, he is. He's a brick house.
You know, Layla essentially broke his back. He can't move, so it's going to be easy to sit this man in the Animus and watch his memories.
Well, that's why I did that video where, like, I don't believe in the next one. I kind of feel like we're gonna find out. Kind of along the lines of what you're saying, where, like, you're not playing as Layla in the thing. But I think that Odyssey and Origins is not canon. The way I feel, the way I see things, I do believe, and like I said, I did a video on this, I do believe that one of three things is going to happen. Either Layla is, you know, like, full of crap, and you know, like, they find out she's like a con woman. You know, she's been saying all this stuff just to stay alive.
See, you say a con woman. Is it possible the staff corrupted her?
Well, no, because I'm thinking all the way back to Origins before she even found the staff. You know? Now, the other thing that I was thinking of is, you know, besides that, maybe she died in Origins at that point where they were going to send the hit squad.
Yeah, I remember you talking this theory on a video. I quite like this theory, where you think she's actually dead but is in the Animus sort of reliving at the same time.
Right, because the same way that, you know, Miles, Desmond's father, put, you know, Desmond in the Animus.
Yeah, when Juno triggered the bleeding effect on him in the temple.
Yeah, maybe he put her in the Animus so that way, you know, like, she's alive. Maybe he recognizes that she has some value, and
well, that would make sense. Send her on a great adventure.
Exactly.
She doesn't realize she's dead. Send her on a great adventure around Greece. Let her discover Atlantis. Let her take out a very high-level assassin in Templar in Otzelberg. Make her feel completely comfortable in the whole thing while you're learning. So I mean, like, I do like this theory, but I just don't think it's a thing.
You know what? That's why it's just a theory. Like, you know, like it might not be a thing. You know what I'm saying? But like, this is like one of the theories that I have, because I can't see how we've gone in so many directions with this character. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we've gone.
It's almost as if she's got somebody holding the left arm, the right arm, and they're just pulling her back and forward.
Exactly.
And changing her story, isn't it?
Exactly. Plus, what happened between Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey? You know what I'm saying? What happened? We didn't hear about that.
First off, how did she get from Egypt to London?
Not just that. How did she acquire her own, like, little Assassin's Creed cell?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, she had the guy from the Yakuza. She had the scientist. She had that doctor character, man. Like, she was such a boring character, and I think that didn't play well for Layla. I think, see if they had somebody more exciting as that doctor.
Right.
I think Layla might have worked more.
Right.
But that Doctor character was just so bland that it was like a godsend when she actually killed her in the DLC. It was like, finally, I don't have to listen to her anymore.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked that they did that. I thought that she was the sleeper agent. I really
still
did.
think she was. I still think she was. I think that's why Layla instinctively killed her.
See, that's possible. Now, that's why, like, my other theory with Layla being in the Animus and dead, I felt like they created the whole Alethea character just so that she, you know, like, she was able to yeah, that she was able to, you know, like, experience, like, whatever, that she felt like she's still alive and she's being guided and everything like that. That's what I felt. I felt like that's what...
To back up your theory, you could look at Alethea as like the angel guiding Layla through the afterlife.
Right.
To sort of back up your theory, because I don't think any of the Abstergo agents, I mean, the Doctor saw her, but she saw her for a specific reason.
Right.
You know, because, yeah, I still don't understand actually that part of it. But, yeah, it's... I don't know, I think... If the Doctor had been a more exciting character, I think that might have elevated Layla as a character. Like, because Layla is a very upbeat, quite like a loud and proud sort of girl.
Right.
You know, and that Doctor was just very, don't go into the animals.
Yeah. She was a little too guarded.
Like, yeah, it's like, it's almost as if the voice actress for Layla had absolutely nobody to bounce off of, to make that exciting.
Right.
Because she was very plain Jane, short hair, don't go in the Animus. You've spent too much time in the Animus, I'm worried about your health, and I'm sitting there going, please, I want to get back to my game.
Yeah, and the thing is that, like, how do you know about Layla's Animus? Layla's Animus is supposed to be different than others.
Exactly.
So, what do you know?
What do you know, considering you only just came into it right now?
Exactly.
But then, to be fair, she's been working with Layla, I would assume, for a few months before the game actually starts with Odyssey.
Yeah, but they don't give us that timeline, and they should, unless they did it in the comic. But again, that's why, like, I feel like, you know, I mean, in the Animus, you could make things happen. So what if Rebecca is making it seem like, you know, she's been with the Assassins for X amount of time, and this is really what went down?
See, I mean, if I was Ubisoft, this is how I would handle it. You would get one Assassin's Creed game every 3 years, okay? You'd get one Creed game every 3 years. About 2 months before the launch of a new Assassin's Creed game, you would get like a 20-minute animated short, like what they used to do. Which would be, this is what's gone on from the last game you played to the point of start of this game. The rest will leave up to you. Like with Ezio's father's 3-part story that was released on the 360.
Oh, yeah.
You know, give you that intro, like, all the way, and then they do that great bit at the end when Auditore's walking out of his house, and it's like, the rest is up to you.
Right.
You know, if they went back to that, and
that would be
sort of
wild.
marketing, you're getting a new Assassin's Creed game every 3 years, which means you get maybe 2, possibly 3 per generation, if you're lucky. But each game you're going to see the improvements in tech, you're going to see a well-written story, you're going to see a game that's not buggy, because the developers have had up 4+ years to make that game, and if you have somebody writing your end game, you have a coherent story. So your first game should move into the animation or the little film that they do perfectly well, and then that film should move into the next game perfectly well. You know, like, they need a Kevin Feige. They need
as long as they give me enough to do between that time. Don't let me forget about Assassin's Creed. Don't let me, you know, get interested in like Ghost of Tsushima and be all about that. And Ghost of Tsushima does Ghost of Tsushima 2, and I'm just like, wow, I gotta play this, you know, because I was so excited. I was so, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Give me stuff to do. Give me DLC. Give me extras. Don't give me an Ezio suit. Give me a full blown DLC.
And here, that's something we'll need to do in the coming months as well when Tsushima Legends comes out. Yeah, I mean, like, it's just, I don't know. My pet hate with games like this is, and this is my number one fear with Ghost of Tsushima, is number 2 is going to be what number 1 was,
Right.
but, like, just more of it.
Yo,
You know,
see,
just more stuff in the open world, more, like, double the side missions, such like.
if they do it right, they could do it where it'll be like a lot more stuff going on. It'll be like a lot more, action. If they develop the story right, it'll be absolutely amazing. The makers of Yakuza flat out said that this game should have been made in Japan.
Made in China.
That Sucker Punch really went above and beyond in this game, and it was like absolutely amazing.
Well, like I said, I mean, if you bought the deluxe edition, you will have got a little documentary. It's about 45 minutes long, and it's the head of the studio. It's Yoshida himself, and it's a Japanese historian all sitting at a round table talking this game. And this historian was blown away by what he was looking at, about how accurate things were. The time period that was used,
there's a YouTube video. There's a YouTube video of actual swordsmen that still study the way of the samurai, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is so on point."
Yeah, the stances are perfect.
Yep.
You know, the way the blade is swung, everything. I mean, this is why I worry about Assassin's Creed now try to tackle a China game or a Japanese game. Whether they go samurai, ninja, however they do. I don't think... Yeah, after looking at that, I hope Ubisoft have looked at a Japanese game and gone, yeah, okay, no.
I'm telling you, they would have to make it original. It would have to be like completely original.
Like very original. Like,
something we haven't seen yet.
There's only so many time periods you can do in Japan though. And the problem is Ghost of Tsushima picked out the best ones straight away.
Yeah, invasion by Huns.
You know, I mean, okay, I mean, to your viewers' point earlier on, they could maybe go back forward and like do a different Khan, like Genghis Khan himself, his original invasions, but does the ninja time period fit into that? Because I'm assuming you would have to go the ninja route for your assassin.
Yeah, you would. You would have to.
So does it make sense to even...
But then that's the problem that they said originally. They said it would be too cliche. They want to take away from like assassins being ninjas and stuff like that, because it would just be too much, it would be too crazy.
And then Sucker Punch comes out with a Sucker Punch.
Exactly. And they come out with a great game. It does have its flaws, but for overall, and I'm calling it right now, that it's game of the year. It's game of the year, hands down.
Here, I hope so. I really do hope so. And like, when it comes to Cyberpunk, I mean, really, if you're going to nominate that game for Game of the Year, please do it for next year. Like, how the fuck can you call it Game of the Year when it launches a month and a half towards the end of the year?
You're right.
I mean, I'd be happy to even see Final Fantasy take Game of the Year, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't be happy to see Resident Evil 3 take it right now.
No, I don't think that's...
Resident Evil 2 should have got it last year, though.
It definitely should have.
It should have got it last year, and the fact it went to that Sekiro Shadows Die Twice was just a travesty. That Resident Evil 2 remake was absolutely phenomenal.
It really was. It was mind-boggling, honestly.
But we'll see what they do with it. But it will be interesting to see where Assassin's Creed goes from here, because you've got the sisterhood movement and everything going on right now.
Right. This is true.
So it will be interesting to see.
It will be.
It definitely will be.
Yeah. Anyway, everyone, that's all the time we have. We've gone on for like almost 2.5 hours. I'm still hitting triangle. What the hell? Almost 2.5 hours, and that's pretty much what we did last time. Don't want to run out of steam. Want plenty to talk about next week. But I hope you guys did enjoy this. Me and Silent, we do this every week. I hope that you guys did actually hear him. I think you guys did. He wasn't. No, some people were actually, commenting and everything. So, that was awesome. But if you guys want to hear a specific topic, hit us in the comments below. Let us know what topics you want to hear about, not just about Assassin's Creed, about any video games in general. And we'll probably discuss it and everything. Anybody else who, yeah, we'll try to. We'll get sidetracked, but I do hope you enjoyed the podcast. Again, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel out an awful lot. As always, I want to thank each and everybody for watching. And until the next time, everybody be good. I'll see